Oh. Hey, everybody. Welcome to my live stream. Let me get things a little set up here. My name is Mano. My name is Nomadic Kitty, and welcome to my live stream. Is South Korea extorting K-pop? What has BTS been up to this week? What is Big Bang really gonna have a reunion, y'all? We're gonna talk about that and a lot more tonight. We're gonna talk about a lot of things tonight. I got my dragon book where I keep my notes at. And so I got my dragon book and we're gonna ready to talk about it. Anyway, hi. Hola, ¿cómo estás usted? Año, annyeonghaseyo, ni hao ma. And everybody else, guten tag. Everybody else around the world, welcome to my channel. I am Nomadic Kitty. On this channel, we discuss K-pop. I just with the BTS base. I am BTS Army, but I do like other boy bands. I'm not into girl groups as much. Uh, my channel, my channel started as something else. I've been a casual K-pop fan since 2022. I've been BTS Army since 2024. And then every week on every Saturday, sometimes I have to reschedule, depends on my life, because life be lifing. But every Saturday we usually have a very interesting K-pop weekly, and this is how it goes. Hello, Marie Miller. Hello. Yeah, I just got started. So every week I have a K-pop live stream, and we do it in this order. First of all, we talk about all the BTS updates first. Then we talk about what's going on in HYBE second. Then after HYBE, we talk about what's going on just generally in K-pop. And then after that, we talk about what's going on in Korea. And then after that, we have a free-for-all. Hello, Katina, Sugar's girlfriend. Girl, no. No. But yeah, that's the order that we usually do things in. Hello, Shelling P. If you like, share, and subscribe to my channel, you look at my shorts. I do a lot of different shorts. I put things in the community posts. I also have memberships here. So those of you who are on the membership level, you guys get the videos early. You guys also get access to something called K-Pop Confidential, where I talk about the gossip in the industry. Sometimes it's my opinion, sometimes it's things that I hear, sometimes it's both, and I put that in the community tab or the post tab, and only members can see my K-Pop Confidential, because I'm not really I'm not a gossip channel, but I do dish some gossip. I do have 3 friends who are in the K-pop industry. They do not work for HYBE or Big Hit, so I can sit there and say that, but I can't say what other agencies they may or may not have worked for. I try to make sure my friends keep employed, but I do hear things in the industry. And so I do try to share it with you guys, and I throw little hints, and I try to get you guys to read between the lines sometimes, because I can't really come out and say things, but that's how it goes. I do have videos coming up this week. It was Chuseok in South Korea, which is the annual, like, their Thanksgiving. So me and my kids, we went out and we had fun and stuff like that. So that video is going to be released this week. I also did a really fun video about like things that trends in K-pop culture, things that I find interesting or silly or just delusional. That video will come out Wednesday. Most of the time I release my long form videos twice a week, usually Mondays or Wednesdays, or Mondays and Thursdays. And then I have shorts throughout, and then I have a live stream on Saturday. So that's kind of how I like my schedule. I try to have my schedule, but y'all like be lifing. I'm not a gossip girl, but I do dish. Yes, I do dish when I can. But yeah, life be lifing for me. So I do work a regular job. I have a regular life. This is not how I get paid. And K-pop is just my hobby. So I'm just letting everybody know. Also, let me bring up, I do write BTS based fan fiction on Wattpad. I am working on something new. I will put excerpts in times in my post tab on my channel. But if on Wattpad, I'm Nomadic Kitty FF. Nomadic Kitty, F is in Frank, F is in Frank, stands for Nomadic Kitty Fan Fiction. If you know what Wattpad is an app where people can post all kinds of fiction, nonfiction. It's for amateur writers. It is free. I have an ongoing sugar-based, BTS-based, realistic fan fiction where I take everything that I've heard from the industry, everything that I know, and then I put it into this fan fiction. So you really get to see like what it is. Like, it's very realistic. But hello, everybody. AK is here. Oh my God, AK. let me stop here and say something non-K-pop. Interview with the vampire. Child, I watched that trailer. That's all I can say. I watched the trailer. I watched the trailer 3 times a day. I was like, let me watch these trailers. So if yeah, I do like other things besides K-pop. If y'all don't know, I like a lot of science fiction. I like a lot of horror. I like a lot of fantasy stuff. I like Sandman. Sandman was one of my favorite. The Interview with the Vampire is one of my favorite shows. And and they just released the trailer, so I have to say something to AK about that because AK watches it. Girl, I was, yeah, Lestat had me undone. I was like, oh, this show is just about some messy queens. Interview with the Vampire, if you have not watched it, it's based on the Anne Rice books. It's on AMC. And there's a third season. I think the first 2 seasons are on Netflix, but the third season is coming up in January. So just in case that's what we're talking about, real briefly, I had to bring that up. Anyway, also the last church announcements. It's church announcements time, y'all. For those church announcements. The last thing I had to say, I do have a design and t-shirt shop that's linked to my channel. This is one of my shirts. Let me pan the camera down here. This shirt here says rap line because I always talk about me being a rap line girl. So it says rap line, K-pop. Marie Miller said not for her. She went with that vampire stuff. My son is into vampire stuff now, so he's a chip off the old block right now. He's starting to read Anne Rice, and he's actually reading Interview with the Vampire right now. So I feel like I did a good job as a parent. He's into the vampire thing now. But anyway, this is my rap line shirt. So each week on my live streams, or you may see it in my YouTube videos, I'm going to try to wear one of my shirts. I ordered a bunch of shirts just to see how they come up, and this is my rap line. So for those of us who appreciate the K-pop rap line, I wore one last week. And so my shirts are on sale right now. And so I have a whole bunch of things, that designs I'm working on right now for all you K-pop girlies and women. So I do try to have things that are unique and that's a little bit more grown folks. It's a little bit more, because a lot of the K-pop merchandise, I've said it before, is a little bit too cutesy. And I like my stuff a little bit grown. So this is one shirt out of many designs out of many, but I love it. Have you seen the Hammer version of Dracula? No, I have not, but I want to. I might watch that tonight if I end up having nightmares. I do like horror stuff, y'all, but I can't watch ghost stuff. Like just sidebar. What are we talking about? K-pop and hello, but yeah, I'm not really into horror, but I do like vampires and I do like zombies. I was a big fan of Walking Dead as well. So I used to be, not anymore, but that's just a sidebar. But we're going to talk about K-pop. So the first thing we're going to talk about BTS, and boy, do I have a lot to talk about tonight about BTS, y'all. Whew. Okay. So let's just start with something easy before we get into what I really want to get into before I go off. AK said, "Oh yeah, Interview with the Vampire is not very scary. It's not very bloody and scary and stuff like that. It's more like drama. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of relationship issues. But yeah, we're gonna get into. So we're gonna talk about BTS. So we're gonna start with Jimin. So Jimin was doing his thing. We talked about last week. It was Fashion Week for a lot of the K-pop stars last week. This week, Jimin actually posted a pic. And he was talking on Weverse. I forgot who he replied to, but he was replying to somebody on Weverse. So if you don't know, let me explain. Weverse is a app where there's a lot of Korean solo artists, K-pop artists that are all in one app. And then like you join whichever artist you like. And on that app, you can set up a username and a profile. And then whenever the artists go live, they go live on Weverse, and it has it to where you can communicate live with the artist. You can type messages in and they can read them and stuff like that. And so Weverse is when I talk about Weverse, that's what Weverse is. So that they also can go on there and post messages and post pics. It's kind of like, like not, they do have their own social media, but this is something, a way for them to connect with the fans. And so sometimes they go on there and they reply to fans. It's real cute. But I'm on Weverse. Excuse me, I had never even heard of Weverse until December. So I joined Weverse in December. I'm Nomadic Kitty on Weverse as well, just in case you want to stop by and say hi. But on Weverse, so Jimin posted a pic. BTS Jimin posted a pic. He was looking good. Look at his blonde hair. He still looked a little sad. I told y'all last week or the week before kind of the tea of what I keep hearing Oh yeah, now they have it on Weverse. Yes, Katina. The comments are now translated into Korean so they can read them now in real time. Uh, Inda says she always loved the second and third generation. Honey, we talk about the second and third generation a lot here. I have a whole video on my channel about what happened to K-pop and why the second generation is the golden age of K-pop. I don't care what anybody say. It is second generation is the golden age of K-pop. And I always bring up second generation because again, I've only been a K-pop fan since 2022. And so I've been rediscovering the second generation. I've been watching a lot of second generation. I'm a Big Bang fan. I appreciate everything that they did. And so I have a whole video and I will bring out more sequels to this video talking about the second generation and how it doesn't get enough props because things was going down in the second generation that it's the music style, the swag, the attitude. I'm a second generation girl. Matter of fact, I have a t-shirt that say like K-pop baddie second generation or third generation or fourth generation. But that second generation though, there wasn't nothing like it. And I don't understand why people just forget that second generation. It was a good generation for me. In my opinion, it's more my speed. It was more grown back then. But Jimin posted a pic and he's going back and forth. You know, everybody who don't know to do know, you look on my YouTube channel, Jimin has faced early last month in September, he faced a quote unquote scandal, okay? Because this chick that he used to date, this jump off or whatever, outed him and said that she posted videos on her TikTok and her pictures and stuff like that. And it's been a whole thing. And so fans were upset at Jimin because I guess he allegedly dated this, I wouldn't say dated very loosely, this chick or whatever. And so Jimin's kind of like been in hiding, but he did do his fashion week. They're required, contractually obligated to come out on fashion week. And we're going to get into that in a minute. Y'all know what I'm going to say. But anyway, so Jimin was looking cute. Jin, if I didn't mention last week, Jin has 2 encore performances in South Korea. I think I mentioned that last week with his concert. So he has two more performances. Jin's pretty much been laying low. I haven't really seen much of Jin lately. Was Inda said, oh, she said me too. I started K-pop since fifth grade in elementary, I think, 2012, 2013, if I'm not mistaken, where the second gen was really on Hot Topic and K-pop had just started their big waves. Yes, when they first started their, what do they call it? Hallyu wave in Korea. That's when they started. And I'm sad that I'm late to the whole K-pop thing because I would have loved it because I'm old. In the second generation, that would have been in my wheelhouse. I would have been all up in the club. Like, hey, I would have been in the club breaking it down. Like, second generation, that would have been 2012. I would have been, no, I take it back. 2012, 2012, I was just being a mom then. So I don't know. But I still would have loved it had I known it been brought to my attention and gave K-pop a chance. But yeah, second generation is the best. So I have not seen Jin. Like I said, he has that encore coming. So there you go. V was in Paris. I think we talked about last week that he was at the fashion show. V also has posted things on Weverse, like not doing a live stream, but he's posted like he posted today. I didn't get to read it. Oh, Katina said he slides into some of the guys' Weverse responses. Jen, yeah, Jen has. Yeah, Jen, I seen him slide in. I seen Jim and I see V slide in the DMs. You know, V is really active on Weverse. And I asked y'all, has V always been this active? And people telling me that no, that before he went to the military, that V was not this active and he was not this on a thirst trap. V makes me thirsty. You know, V is a thirst trap. Every time I see V, he makes me thirsty. Yeah, I'm thirsty. I get some of that VT. Cause V was on Weverse and I was like, has he always been like? People are like, no, he didn't used to be on there all the time. I said, okay, well, V, he can't stay out of Weverse. Like he can't. Ashley said, V can't stay off of Weverse. Like V be on the Weverse all the time. Yes, I saw that back. Child, V be posting photos. V is hello. Susanna Rizzo, hello. We just getting started. But V, yes, V is very active on Weverse. And apparently he wasn't like that before. He posts photos. He posted a back photo. He is really happy and proud about his physique. And I'm not going to stop this man. If this man want to get on there and post pictures of his back, his arms, whatever, his food, what he eat. And V, again, I say it again, he just bought a $10 million penthouse and sold $10 million. V be showing off, yes, all the time, honey. All day, all day. V is like, I'm here. I've been working out. I'm looking good. V is living his best damn life right now. Like, can't nobody tell me that V ain't living his life right now. So let's see. Let me mark him off. We haven't heard much from Jungkook. So I'm gonna mark him off. I don't know. He's been pretty quiet. He must be really, really busy. But again, it has been a holiday. So Jim and I talked about Jim and V doing thirst trapping. Jen, okay. J Hope. We haven't heard much from J Hope either. Like J Hope, he must be out here busy, right? J Hope kind of MIA. But J Hope and Jen deserve to rest. They've been holding it down for everybody because they got out the military first. So they did full tours, concerts, and everything else. Not unless y'all can tell me again. I don't follow these. I don't follow BTS on social media. Or I don't have social media like that. Like for those of you, I have a Blue Sky account, but I use it to advertise my channel. But that's about it. I'm not on Instagram or X, so I rely upon y'all to tell me. Speaking of BTS, J Hope just had one of his tours this last May. Yes, I unfortunately I didn't get to go. I did go to the Gen tour in my country. It was a day. Yeah, J Hope. I really wanted to go, but they were in San Antonio, which is like 4 hours from me. I didn't want to do a 4 hour drive in the middle of the week. Oh, okay, yes. J Hope, I take that back, Katina. You're right. J Hope did do a Weverse live, but he looked very tired. He looked very stressed and very tired. So I don't know what J Hope is up to. I don't know whether he's working on something or rehearsing. Again, they're getting ready for this album. Their album comes out next year and they have a long tour. I have a video, by the way, coming up, y'all, about BTS and finances and their tour. I have a video coming up. It's gonna be a 20-minute video that I just started editing today. I just wrote it and I started editing it today. But it's gonna be a video talking about the industry, and the analysts have come out with some things about BTS and their viability. And I'm just gonna break it down on how BTS is gonna be saving the industry. So just letting the haters know. Cause there's always gonna be some haters that be like, well, Stray Kids, and no disrespect to Stray Kids. Y'all my stays, come on here. I love y'all. No disrespect to Blackpink. Y'all blinks, I love y'all. But we all know BTS is going to save the industry. I'm sorry, y'all. I understand these groups that made money. AT's had a wonderful tour. I understand. I get it. I get it. I get it. Yes, yes, yes. But BTS is here to save the industry. So like I said, I did a whole 20-minute video. Later, I'm gonna let the haters know. I'm gonna break down all the facts and the figures and what the analysts are saying, because everybody's waiting for BTS to save K-pop. J-Hope seems to be sad. I don't know if he's coming down from his tour. Maybe so. He did seem sad. He seemed tired. He seemed bothered. He seemed a bit sad. So I totally agree with J-Hope, the live stream. So Sugar. Now, those of you who are my members, the ones, my paying members, you my sister, I had somebody read that and they was like, that is a wild, wild rumor I posted about Sugar. It's wild. Again, I always bring it up because I think about that rumor and I'm like, should I post this? I was like, I'll post it to the paid members. I've sat on this for months now and I'm like, who can I tell about this? And I was like, I can't come on a live stream and tell people about this. So I was like, I'll just post it and get it out there. But it's a wild rumor about Sugar. So it like there's two rumors in one on one post, and it's kind of wild. And they said we have literally the same problem. His concert was was a capital city of your country, and that's 8 hours away. Oh, so yeah, you're like, no, J Hope, I'm sorry. Right. I get J Hope concert. Jen's concert was in the middle of the week as well. And Jen's concert, thank God, was here in Dallas. So I could 45-minute drive for me. But 4 hours in the middle of the week, I have two kids. I was like, well, what are we gonna do with the kids? Like, I can't, they would have ended up having to miss school because we were going to try to spend the night in San Antonio, but I can't. I have two kids, and so I can't leave them here by themselves, and they have school, and they would have made. So I was just like, next time, J-Hope, next time. You think his dog had been sick as well? Who? J-Hope's dog? J-Hope don't really have a dog. That's his sister's dog. Are y'all talking about Mickey? Mickey was in the hospital a couple of months ago. But that's his sister's dog. You talking about Mickey, his dog? Yeah, the dog stayed with his sister. Like, she has, if y'all don't subscribe to his sister's YouTube channel, I don't I it pops up in my recommends, but a couple of months ago I saw that she loves that dog. Like she loved that dog like that dog her kid. Little dog had an outfit on, and then I remember she took the dog to go see her parents because he had just got out the hospital. So the dog has been really sick. Um Off and on, but he's an older dog. Like Mickey, yeah, it's a family dog. Mickey's an older dog though. Like, so he ain't no spring chicken. But yes, I don't know what J Hope is sad about. Again, I have my own theories and my own gossip, but I ain't gonna spill it right here. But I have my own theories about things that I won't get into. But he has been working. So I think like, it's working. Sugar. The dog stays with her parents. Okay, yeah, that's what I kind of figured. So let's talk about Sugar. So Sugar had his center open in the hospital. And everybody, and I did a shorts. If you check on my YouTube shorts, I did a shorts talking about I talked about Valentino. I don't know if Sugar is I don't know if Sugar is again signed with Valentino anymore. He was as of 2023. He was. I don't know. I don't know if he's signed with it as well. Um I can also I can tell you one thing. Wait a minute. Um okay, so there's something I can tell you. I can tell you that Jimin is going to be moving. I can tell you that Jimin has a new uh there is a new apartment complex being built in Jimin. I heard that Jimin's going to move there. And so it's not built yet. It's under construction, but it's a state of the art complex. And so I heard that Jimin, because I've seen where Jimin lives now, and it's very Jimin. It looks very nice. But yes, Jimin's going to. There's a new place being built in Seoul, and Jimin's going to be moving there. And I don't know when it's going to finish up. I think maybe in 4 or 5 months, maybe before spring. Like it should. This is October, November, December. Probably like around in February, I think it'll probably be done. Probably, it just depends. But yes, Jimmy will be moving to his new place. And this is state of the art, fancy new place. So I can't tell you that about Jimmy. But Sugar, I don't know if he signed with Valentino. Back to Sugar. Um, so we were sad that Sugar did not do Valentino, but Subin from TXT did Valentino. If you guys didn't know, I saw that he did Valentino. And so I don't know if Sugar's still under contract with Valentino or what happened there or how long he signed. Oh, Jungkook's Bam is sick. Oh, Bam is sick. Okay. I didn't know. Oh, okay, Samantha. When am I going to be doing another live? I do a live every Saturday. Every Saturday at 8 p.m. my time. I don't know what time you guys are in, but it's Central Standard Time. Like right now, it is after 8 here. So 8 p.m. Central Standard Time in America, I come on here and I do a live stream. So once a week. I used to try to do live streams twice a week, but I have such a hard schedule. But yeah, okay. So they're saying that Jungkook Bam is sick. Okay, Katina says he was the one who threw the phone at the crazy fan. Who was the one that threw the phone at the crazy fan? Which one? Oh, was it Subin? Was it Subin the one that threw the Subin's my bias in TXT. So I like Subin. I like Subin. Did he throw a phone at a crazy fan? I could see Subin doing something like that. Oh, he did. What was the fan doing? Oh, y'all gotta tell me. Wait a minute. Hold on. What happened? So Subin threw a phone at a crazy fan. I did not hear about this. This sounds funny. But Sugar was not a Valentino. So I was disappointed. But I kind of figured he wasn't gonna be because I think last week we were talking about that. And I kept telling y'all I didn't think Sugar was going to be a Valentino. I just didn't. There's reasons for that, but I won't get into I won't oh you know what, I'm not gonna get into all that right now. That's too long of a tale. But I've heard things. So I don't want to get into that. So um yeah, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that right now. I'll come next week. I'm gonna come back and we're gonna do, if there's not a lot of news, I'm gonna do like a gossip stream and I'm just gonna blind item y'all some certain things. But I kind of had a feeling that Sugar wasn't going to do the Valentino thing. Um he should have been there. Shame on those people. They were harassing Subin. Oh, he was on vacation in Hong Kong with a friend for the holidays. They found out and followed him. It was crazy. Oh, so it wasn't at the fashion show. He was on vacation. Oh, okay. He was on vacation. for the holidays. I think I heard something about that. I think I briefly heard something about that. That he was on vacation and they found out and they followed him. It was crazy. Well, especially in Hong Kong, yeah. Oh, there's a video of the whole thing. Oh wow. After this, I'm gonna definitely watch that video. I want to see my boy Subin go off. Like, go off, Subin, tell him. But I'm telling y'all, like, these fans, it's expected though. Y'all know I have limited sympathy for K-pop singers and their privacy because again, in America, K-pop singers don't have privacy. They don't have privacy. They have security. It's just different here culturally. It's like there's an expectation of privacy amongst K-pop fans that I find interesting. I find comical because to me as somebody who's used to famous people, I'm like famous people don't take no chances. If they go someplace private, they're going someplace private. They have enough money, they're going someplace. They're going to go to a resort and be on a private beach. Like they're not gonna mix with regular people. I don't understand why which K-pop is so global now. I've said this over and over again. This is not the days of the first, second, and third generations where K-pop singers just to get to be anonymous and go live there. Them days is over. If you're gonna be there are K-pop groups that can still do that that are very popular in Korea, but especially in Japan. Oh, forget it. Like Japan is Korea adjacent. So yeah, people are gonna recognize you more in Thailand or Vietnam or Japan than they would in America. They could come here and visit America and nobody would even bat an eyelash here. I mean, to be honest, that's just how it is. But over there in Asian countries, yeah, they're gonna get recognized more. People here would BTS can run around here in my city and nobody would even know who the hell they were, I promise you, besides me and maybe a few other people. People just don't be paying attention. They just walk right past them and be like, some Asian dudes, like, you know, about not disturbing their sleep. Sleep in line. That's the uh I don't think Sugar will show up. I told y'all Sugar fans. I told y'all as a Sugar's my bias, right? He's my alt. And even I'm realistic. When all this stuff with the scooter went down, I keep telling y'all over and over again. I told y'all my expectations are real low when it comes to Sugar, what he's gonna do, what he isn't going to do. My expectations are very low. Like I think it's gonna be baby steps, incremental baby steps. But will Sugar come out fully publicly? I every day I lose more hope. Like I'm just gonna be I'm a realist and a pragmatist. So I'm telling people don't hold your breath. You know. It also depends on Sugar's personality. I think Jimin is much more like Jimin didn't do anything illegal. Jimin, his situation is slowly but surely, and Jimin's starting to post pictures. I don't know how long it's gonna be before we get like Jimin doing Weverse lives. I mean, he did do one before Dior, and he seemed scared, like a scared trapped animal. But I think it's just gonna take a little bit of time for Jimin. But for Sugar, I don't know. Like I don't know. I've told y'all before that behind the scenes in the industry, from what I've heard, Sugar's taking a lot of heat for this scooter shit. Like a lot of heat. Like affecting his money heat. Like I keep telling y'all, it's affecting his money. That Jimin shit, Jimin was embarrassed, if anything. He was embarrassed. He felt ashamed, allegedly, if anything. He may have to pay Song Duan a little bit of ducats. He may have to pay her off a little bit, allegedly, in my opinion. I'm just saying that he may have had to cut a deal with her, have her sign an NDA and cut a deal. And I tell you, she gonna be bye-bye. Bye-bye, Song Duan. Bye, girl. Bye, girl. She gone. She gone. Don't worry, she ain't coming back. But you do what you have to do in the industry to protect your reputation. So it's really a reputation thing. But this Sugar stuff, this is something different. This is something a little bit different. I told y'all behind the scenes there are things that are going on that we don't see behind the scenes. There are things that have been said or done in this Sugar shit that is not good for his career personally, because Sugar's a composer, producer, really well sought after in the industry, you know. And so now after this scooter thing hit, I don't know. Like some people are like afraid to like, you know, I think they're a little apprehensive in Korea to kind of, you know, be involved with him in certain types of ways. And I think, I don't know, like I said, in my opinion, one of the faults of K-pop to me is that they don't protect their artists. I've said this since day one. I said it's a shame that HYBE throughout this whole New Jeans Adore that HYBE finally got a corporate PR strategist. They just hired this dude a month ago. I gagged. I told y'all my jaw dropped. I was like, y'all don't have a PR corporate strategy. Y'all just got a y'all are this big company and y'all don't have a corporate PR person. I don't, these K-pop companies, it just floors me. Like I've been looking and researching and I'm just flabbergasted the way they just leave their artists hanging out there like that. I totally disagree with that, y'all. I totally disagree. Yeah, it's vice versa though. Sometimes when celebs from outside of Asia visit Asia, often they would just be regarded as normal foreigners or international tourists having a vacation there. That is true, Inda. That is true. It seems like they don't think that far ahead. I'm floored that they don't think this far ahead. You know, Jimmy didn't know how the fans would react. Yeah, he was skittish because he didn't know. This is why he acted that way. Yes, they Jimin was scared because he didn't know how to fan, but the fans acted lovely. I can say, Army, y'all acted great with Jimin. Y'all were happy to see him. We were all happy to see him. And again, Jimin didn't do anything wrong. Jimin didn't do, I have to reinforce this with everybody. Jimin did not do anything wrong. This chick did him wrong. And so the people that was coming on my live streams and coming on my channel, and like I told y'all last week, I had to block people left and right, and center, because I had Delulu toxic ass fans coming in on my channel saying crazy shit about the whole Jimin situation. And I'm like, but Jimin didn't do anything wrong though. Like Jimin, this is not his fault. Like it's not like she's the jump off from hell. I mean, what do you, I mean, she's the crazy ex. We've all had them, okay? We've all had somebody that we went on a couple of dates with, and she went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and she was trying to take advantage of the situation for whatever career gain or whatever monetary or whatever it is that she may or may not have got out of this situation. So she was just trying to shoot her shot and take advantage of Jimin. So he did nothing wrong. So yes, he was afraid how the fans would react, and fans have reacted for the most part 90% favorably. And which they should, because Jimin is a grown, he's an adult person, and he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't hurt nobody. He didn't do anything, no SAN. He didn't do anything illegal. He didn't do anything. Sugar, I don't know. Like I said, this is uncharted territory. I don't know. I keep telling y'all, these mofos, and I love South Korea. God knows South Korea. I know I love y'all. But these are the same people that's still mad over TOP. They still mad about TOP, y'all. They still online dragging TOP. And this was 2016, 2017 with TOP. Over 10 years ago, they still mad about what TOP for a marijuana charge. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell y'all. And at the time when this happened with TOP, you got to understand, Big Bang was at the height of their popularity. It was at the height of their popularity. And they still ain't over their TOP stuff. And yeah, TOP let him live his life. He did make his way back, and he coming out with an album. We're gonna talk about that later. That my dude, my other man is coming out with an album. Okay, he's coming out with a rap album. But the only reason that TOP is allowed to do what he does now is because of Squid Game. It made him popular, and international fans are like, we don't care what he did. We love this person. And he basically became like like stole Squid Game off from under the Squid Game people. My kid, again, I tell y'all a story that my daughter don't like K-pop, but all her little friends and everything, they all know who TOP is. My daughter's like, oh, it's TOP. Big Bang gonna get. My daughter don't like K-pop, but she like, well, if TOP come out in concert, Mama, I go with you. That whole Thanos thing in Squid Game, they all was watching it. They was quoting. My kids didn't know diddly about K-pop, but was quoting Thanos all day, every day. That's all they was doing, going around quoting. Even before I even had a chance to watch it, they was like, "Oh my God, Thanos, 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 Thanos." That's all they was talking about for a long time. So it was because of Squid Game, it put TOP back out there and gave him an opportunity. But people in Korea were still hating on him online when he was on Squid Game. I still was reading things online. I was flabbergasted that people were actually still mad about his drug charge. They were still dragging him for filth. Low key shade, high key shade, low key shade, everything in the middle. So again, for Sugar, I don't know. I don't know if Korea's gonna get over this. You can see it in LA when he came with Sugar. I think I can tell you in theory, I can tell you in theory that when Sugar allegedly my personal opinion that when Sugar came to LA, I can tell you that Sugar received a lot of love and respect within the industry. And there are a lot of people who really respect Sugar and RM and the things that they have done. And nobody batted an eyelash allegedly about anything that what Sugar went through. And Sugar's very low key, very quiet, low key, introverted kind of person. And I can tell you that in California, allegedly, in my opinion, I think Sugar felt he could breathe a sigh of relief when he's in LA. That he could actually really just be a regular guy. I can tell you that they went to concerts, they went to musical stores, they went to restaurants, they hung out at places that you probably wouldn't even think that they hung out at, certain underground rap clubs and rap scene. I promise you that RM and Sugar were there, and J Hope possibly were there, allegedly, in my opinion. And I'm guessing that Sugar probably felt a sense of relief that, like, I'm here and I don't have to stay in the house all the time. And if I go out, people are going to take a picture of me. None of that really happened in LA. There was a few pictures of them in LA, the stuff that they posted on social media. But for the most part, people didn't recognize them. And the fans that did recognize them, they tried to stay back respectfully and they try to respect their space and stuff like that. But they did go out and do things and go places and do things. But I think I just have a feeling that to be able to move about in another space probably provided him with a sense of relief. Like, I can just be myself here and I ain't got to worry about nothing. And I ain't got to worry about people looking at me and staring at me. And in California, he's just another person. Like, nobody even, people are mad at Sugar. Yes, people are still mad at Sugar about the scooter thing, Paula. Um, I think that HYBE felt like that I think HYBE is Mr. LA, honey. I'm just, okay, here we go. In my opinion, allegedly, HYBE is Mr. LA. HYBE is Mr. LA. Honey, HYBE was in Oakland. HYBE was in Oaktown, y'all. He was in Oakland hanging out in the hood. Anyway, let me go back to my list. Let me y'all gonna get me in trouble. Every time I come on these live streams, y'all get me to just yap, 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 and yap. Let me just say, HYBE had a good time, and RM had a nice time as well. All of them had a very good time. HYBE has a whole LA apartment. That's what I heard. Yeah, hell yeah, Katina. HYBE was in Oaktown. HYBE was in Oakland. HYBE was in Oakland. I'm surprised that HYBE wasn't in Compton, baby. HYBE was. I'm surprised HYBE wasn't in Long Beach. But anyway, HYBE was hanging out, honey. HYBE was hanging out. That's his thing, The other ones may be a little bit more key, but HYBE, he much more of a sociable kind of person and a bit more adventurous. HYBE was, child. I heard HYBE was he was in Oakland. I heard he was in Long Beach. I heard HYBE was just hanging. People were just taking people. HYBE, from what I heard, is the type of person that you just want to snatch up and just want to go play and just want to show him things. That he's a very, like, open person like that. Like, ooh, Hobie, I got this soul food restaurant I can take you to. Oh, let's go to this fried chicken place. Oh, and he's like, okay, let's go. Like that kind of attitude. Like he's the type of person that you would want to go and just be cool with. And I heard that like, there's dancers in LA, and that he's allegedly supposedly met with and stuff like that were in Oakland and Long Beach. And they was like, come on, Hobie, let's go. Like, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let me take you here. Let me show you around. They want to show you around. Who wouldn't want to show around J-Hope? So you gonna go to, the soul food place and the fried chicken place. What I'm saying? I'm just putting it out there. I'm just, what? I'm just going anyway, back to what I was saying about Sugar. So I feel like when they were in LA, they've been to LA many times before. So it's not like this is their first time. They've been to LA many times before and recorded things and done things. And I just feel like they have a sense of being anonymity in California that they don't really have, maybe in the Asian countries, that they could actually be free and people just leave them alone. Like, and people won't be recognizing them then too much. And again, LA is very different from Seoul. Like it's very, very different. Like I said, here in America, it's just different, period. Like when you are hanging around other producers and people here, it's just a different vibe. Like there's a different vibe of people. Period. We have more diverse vibe of people, and different vibe of people is that LA is kind of like a city where people are used to seeing famous people, so nobody's really gonna kind of like invade your privacy like that. Because people are used to seeing famous people, so it's not like anybody's like shocked that there's some singers. People just like, oh, there's such and such. Okay, there's such and such. And then I say it before, depending on what city you're in, the rich people know where to go. In LA, they know where to go. They in Hollywood, they know where to go. They know all the rich people, the famous people know where to go where they can get privacy. They know things that they can do to get privacy. But it's one of their go-to places. Yeah, that's thank you, Ice Queen. I would kind of want them to come to the US, Samantha, but then I don't. The food. Yeah, there's a whole Koreatown in LA. So I talk about Koreatown a lot. It's the biggest, largest population of South Koreans are in Koreatown and LA. And the second is here where I'm at. We have the second biggest population of expat South Koreans here where I live. There's a city called Carrollton, Texas. We have the second largest. Koreatown in California is the first. And I don't know how South Korea became. I don't know how, I mean, Carrollton became but yes, there's a whole shopping centers and whole areas of nothing but Koreans, like in Carrollton, Texas. Like, so there's like half of Carrollton is like South Korean. So we have the second largest, and the Koreatown is the first. And so, like they even call Carrollton, Texas, like the Koreatown. We're like known as the Koreatown of the South. So, but yeah, they hang out there and they can get their food, and people there speak the language and stuff like that. So Sugar, they had a good time. But again, I don't know how long is it going to be before Sugar's going to be like out there, y'all. So just I don't know. Don't hold your breath, y'all. I know some of y'all are heartbroken. I know y'all like, no, Sugar, no, no. I trust me, Sugar's my ult. This is y'all. I've told y'all how I feel. So we're gonna get on to RM. Let me turn towards the camera and let me get to RM. So I did a video about this and I posted a Weverse. RM did a Weverse for like an hour or almost an hour. Is it true the Korean government finally gonna let ours give a prize? I don't know. I have to look that up. Somebody else told me that today. I have a chance. Why wouldn't I want BTS to move to the US? I don't know. I will do a video getting into that as well. I don't know. I have to lately there's some things that I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know it career wise. I think personal wise, it would be good for them because they can live their life anonymously. Like they really can move about a bit easier, as long as they do it safely. But there are other things that lately that I'm hearing that I'm just like that. I did a video back in March, and I'm going to talk about it in a video. I'm gonna get real into this because there are things that I'm hearing that I am not that I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, there's things that I'm hearing. Let me just put it this way, and then I can get on the RM. There are sentiments that I am hearing about foreign artists that I find disturbing. That's all I can say. There are things that, and I read things and I go places, even though I'm not on social media like that, but I do go and I listen to things. And there are things that are people are saying about foreign artists, and I'm just like, well, wait a minute, K-pop, what does that mean for K-pop? I'm like, so what? Y'all don't want foreign artists here singing in Korean? What is happening? What? Like I even heard people say that. I'm like, I like I said, I'm in these spaces, and I heard people get at me. They like, well, these Korean artists come here, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm like, back the f up. Hold up, what? I'm like, what are you saying? So they can't come, child. So I've read some very interesting things. And I'm like, y'all, if this keeps getting worse, we in trouble. I said, child, if they ever try to come after BTS on some bullshit, I said, I just sit back and just shake my head and laugh, because I'm be like, y'all, Army is fierce. Army is fierce. Army's like, they ain't gonna let you him BTS up. They BTS can come here and sing Korean all damn day, and the BTS Army be like, you got something to say? Oh, you got something to say? Shit. Army ain't having it. They be like, Army gonna put on not today. They gonna be like, they gonna start taking their shirts off and start putting their fatigues on. Army gonna put on not today, and they gonna be like, not today. Army is like, we are not having it here. Like, don't come up here with the arguments about the foreign artists. I was like, oh no. I was like, y'all gonna come up against some deep people. I said, Army is like, what you finna do? I was like, Army ain't no joke. Like, Army is the most powerful fandom on earth. So I would sit back and with amusement if somebody would try to say something about BTS. Yeah, BTS been fighting day one, honey. I said Army, Army be like, what? Hell no. I know. I've heard things lately, y'all, that, like I said, that today I thought about, I have to do a video about this, because the things that I am hearing with this whole Bad Bunny situation about him not speaking English, and then it got on the K-pop. They were like, well, we don't want them here either. I was like, oh, okay. Y'all, F around and find out today. I said, y'all come up against Army, y'all ain't gonna know what hit y'all. I said, Army will be like, oh, okay. Shit, like, we got a whole tour. Army's like, I've been waiting 2 years for BTS to come back. You ain't finna stop me from going to no tour. Baby, Army be like, I said, y'all have no idea what y'all will unleash with Army. Army is not having that. Army is not having these conversations. And Army will fight you. I'm like, Army will bring you down. I said, Army will be like, what? Like, you ain't finna make BTS feel bad. BTS have been through enough in their careers with enough xenophobia, with enough racism, and the way the music industry is going right now. I'm here to tell y'all before I do my video, I think there's several things that I think. Number one, I think these award shows are fixing to change the rules again. I have a feeling that these streaming things, and I'm telling y'all right now, that these award shows are fixing to change the rules again. That's what I keep hearing. And I'm telling you, when BTS come back, get ready for it. Because I think they're going to do things in the music industry to freeze BTS out of these awards, even more so than what we've seen. That's all I can say. Because I'm hearing things and I'm like, what? And I think that they are getting ready to try to change the rules again for the Grammys, or tinker around with the categories, or mess with the Spotify downloads. I think that, because YouTube is messing around. I told y'all, I forgot to tell y'all this last week. YouTube is messing around with the downloads. Like YouTube's like the views, YouTube is messing around with the system right now. So they starting to take it. So if y'all think they was taking out stuff before, YouTube is messing around with the numbers on the videos. I think Spotify just did an update on their numbers, which they're trying to take out like bot accounts and they're trying to take out emails. And I get it. They're trying to keep people, but I think like when BTS drop right before BTS drop an album or afterwards, I wouldn't be surprised if Spotify did another update. And don't be surprised if these awards shows like the Grammys and American Music Awards and the Billboard start pushing more different kind of categories. I promise you, because just watch y'all. Because like I said, the things that I've heard, I'm like, huh? I was like, this is what y'all trying to do now. Oh, okay. So don't be surprised if the awards start switching things up. And of course, you know they're going to invite BTS to their award ceremony. You know they're going to invite them because it's clicks and views and it's ratings. But regarding how many awards the BTS have won and ground that they broke, I promise you that this is gonna be interesting because I think that they are even more now. All I can say this, and I'm gonna move on. If BTS went to the Grammys and the AMAs and the Billboards and they swept these categories these days, I think that the industry and the labels would be afraid of it, and I think it wouldn't be a good look. American wise, I think it would not be a good look. And I think that these award shows maybe are afraid of that. But yeah, BTS came and swept the categories. They're going to start changing things up in the rules. This is not 2009. This is not how it was years ago. Like, I think if BTS is high profile enough, if they start getting enough attention and winning enough stuff in America, some people are not going to like that because they are a Korean group. And I think these labels are scared. And I think these like organizations are scared of that. And like I said, it just, I'm hearing little things here and there that I'm just like, as time goes on, I just feel like if this keeps building, this is just going to be another way to screw over international artists. This is just going to be another way to keep them in some damn box away from all of the westernized audiences. And I think that they are hell bent on trying to do this more than they have been before. I think it's really hell bent now. They did it with the Grammys. Oh yeah. Yeah, because the Grammys will put them as K-pop singers, even though, like I said before, with the Jungkook album that was in English, that they put him in the K-pop category. Why is Jungkook English album in the K-pop category? Why? Because he's Korean? Interesting. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with other groups like Cordis and stuff like this. I'm really fascinated. I'm fascinated by this because I'm like, HYBE is really doing a lot of things, but I just see them like wanting to, and again, I hate to sound reactionary, but I just have a feeling that like they're going to try to sabotage BTS in some way. I don't know what has sit on my spirit this way, but I just feel like they're going to try to sabotage them, like try to diminish how popular they are. Of course, in Korea, it's going to be a thing, but internationally speaking, like especially here in America, I don't know how this is going to go because they've done things to try to sabotage BTS and they want them to make money. But the problem has always been with BTS is that they don't want them to show up Western artists because Western music ain't BTS. It's just not. And they don't have the Western artists besides Taylor Swift and Beyonce, they don't have the fan base. They don't have the organization that Army has. And there are artists that don't like that. There are people in the industry besides artists, people in the industry, executives who don't like that, who don't like the fact that BTS is making a lot of money and they don't have that money. They can't get a piece of that pie because it's controlled by South Korea. And some people, Golden was a great album. They don't want to compete. Yes, they don't want to. Yes, they don't want to compete. This is the start of all civilization. They don't want to compete. They want to keep K-pop. You got to be in this box. Stray Kids had one of the highest selling concerts, like in America, in North America. You would never know it. You would never know it. I'm still annoyed how Jack Harlow beat Jungkook. Paulo, and I wasn't even there. I thought somebody told me that 3 weeks ago. They like, well, you know Jack Harlow. I said, what? I said, no. I was like, wait a minute. I was I was mad because they said Harry Styles got like best dancer or some shit. I was like, no, I said y'all lying. I said y'all lying. They was like, yes. I was like, what? Harry Styles? Hello, Stray Kids fan forever. 143. We were just talking about y'all. But yeah, I don't like how they did Stray Kids. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. They had one of the highest selling tours. I, you and again, they barely mentioned Stray Kids. And I'm just like, how you had one of the highest selling tours in North America and they ain't trying because they still once again are on this like not trying to know. And when BTS comes, BTS cannot be ignored because their fan base is so large. But I honestly think that BTS is going to rub certain people the wrong way. So I'm bracing for impact because if BTS come and they sweep everything and they become really popular and this pops off the way it was in 2020, 2021, there are going to be people, higher up people that are not going to like that a foreign group is going to sweep these awards and get this, and it's going to have eyeballs turned toward BTS. And I don't think HYBE is ready for this. I have not heard anyone talk about this. I talked about this in March. I did a live stream talking about this. I said, y'all get ready because this political shit in America is going to trickle down to K-pop. Because again, at the end of the day, K-pop are still foreigners. They're still Koreans. And there are things that I've heard within the past week that I'm just like, oh no. I'm like, there are things that I'm hearing that I'm just like, should non-American groups tour here and they're making a lot of money and they're not singing in English. And I'm like, well, okay, so these are the things that I've heard in business conversations. And I'm just like, well, how is it going to look when these foreigners are making so much money on tours? I'm like, really? So this is the narrative now. I'm like, this is crazy. This is dangerous. I'm like, this is not gonna be. Oh, and I'm like, is nobody talking about this? I was like, okay. So I said, I'm just gonna put it out there. I said, we'll see. I'm gonna do a whole video talking about this because I'm writing it right now because I'm like, the things that I've heard within the past week has severely got me alarmed. Like, okay, what are y'all saying? Like I listen to a bunch of music that's all in Korean. So what are y'all saying? Well, you shouldn't be listening to what? Like, excuse me? I'm like, hold up. So I've had people say things to me personally. Well, they don't know me personally, but just knowing that I have a Korean centric channel or like, well, because people thought I guess they thought I was Korean, I guess by my icon, like because it's a cat holding a Korean flag. Like people came for me. People was like, well, you're not even American. You know, hold the F up. I'm American. What the fuck are you talking about? Like I go off on people. I said, oh, y'all are looking at my avatar. I said, no, I'm not Korean. I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm like, I'm American. Wait, wait. Like people was saying shit to me thinking that I was Korean. And I was like, okay, wait, what are you saying? I was like, hold up. Like I was really taken aback, like, because they thought I was Korean. And I'm like, oh, that's just my little icon. I was like, that's not me. I'm not Korean. Like, just not saying there's a problem. But I was like, my channel is Korean. I talk about Korean stuff and then yeah. So I've received personally some pushback because of that from certain people who were questioning me about liking Korean stuff. And I've never had anyone ever question me before who never knew me, never seen me, question me about liking Korean stuff. And I was like, why are you questioning this? And kind of suggesting like in a passive aggressive way. And so I'm just telling y'all that this has kind of put me like made me take a step back, like, what are we saying? Like, oh, so we can't listen to me? Child. Like I said, I'm gonna do a whole video about it because it set my teeth on edge. It made my teeth itch. I'm like, don't tell, and I don't like people trying to tell me what to do with my own damn channel. Y'all know I don't like that. And I don't like people coming to my channel saying crazy stuff. And so I was just shocked because I've never had anyone say anything to me. This is the first time that I've had anyone ever like try to like say something to me derogatory, thinking that I was Korean. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, you think I'm Korean? And I got it. And I'm like, oh my God. Um, You thought a picture was just a cat? Oh yeah, you have to look closer. It's a cat. She's wearing hanbok and she has a Korean flag in her hand. They did. I paid them no mind. They had nothing else better to do. But these are people who are like industry adjacent. Like these are people who are kind of in the industry. And so I was like, that's a sentiment I've never heard. And these are people, these are not like just regular average people. These are people who are like around the industry. And I'm just like, oh no, like why are y'all? And I was like, you MFers are gonna try to sabotage. So I expect BTS that they're gonna try to pull some trickery in this. They're gonna try to do something, you know. They say, okay, AK is mad about TOP. She being AK will be, I'll tell y'all right now, AK be in her feelings about TOP because she be getting mad last time. AK said, girl, somebody got mad at me for saying TOP did a great job on Squid Game, and he tried to turn it into an argument about his slang usage on the show. Yeah. Girl, I don't pay attention to these people. The only time I pay attention to people when it comes to people saying this who may or may not be in the American music industry. So these are people that were adjacent to the industry. Like we're talking about people who either works in the industry, like they're saying these kinds of things. And I'm just like, why are y'all saying this kind? So I was like, Lord, so this is new for me. I've never heard anyone say anything. This is the first time. But I'm telling you, this week, this shit with Bad Bunny, I have heard this sentiment over and over and over again. And like outside of the industry and kind of like in it and around it, like an adjacent. And I can't say what kind of adjacent, but I'm like, and then I'm like, okay, don't y'all come for K-pop because y'all don't want nothing from K. Y'all don't want to tangle up with K-pop fans. I said, y'all, you over your head because K-pop fans ain't the one. They're not a peaceful bunch. K-pop fans are like, what'd you say? Like K-pop fans are like nuck if you buck. I do have to say that about K-pop fans. They will come real quick on you. They be on you like this. Who said this about BTS? I said, y'all don't come. I told them, I said, y'all leave BTS out your mouth. Don't come for us. But I just feel like there's going to be a debate, a discussion over optics. I honestly do. I honestly feel that there's going to be a discussion over optics. And some people, they weren't against BTS, but they was like, well, how is it going to look when BTS, this is what I heard. Well, how is it going to look if BTS getting nominated for these Grammys and they win all these awards and they're not even American? This is what I heard someone say. And I like, oh, okay, I see what's happening. And like I said, these discussions have happened before, but now I just keep hearing like a little bit more and more bold and more brazen with it. And BTS, I promise you, behind the closed doors, BTS, they're a topic of discussion for these things and previously. But now I just telling Army, like, I think they're gonna start changing things up either before or after BTS released their album before the Grammys. I think they're going to start trying to change things up again because I think that they understand that nothing is going to stop BTS from being on top of the charts. Nothing. There's nothing that they can do or say to stop Army. There's nothing that they can do. Nothing. Nothing. There is no fandom that is stronger than Army. There is no fandom stronger than us. None. And I'm telling you, in the industry, they fear Army. Oh, they do. They understand that. They understand the power of K-pop. But BTS, they really, really understand. Like they ain't worried about Stray Kids and ATs, and even Blackpink has not even made a dent. But BTS, there is fear there. I mean, there's honest to God, like they're gonna make so much money. BTS is gonna be so many places everywhere, and they're gonna be so high profile. These people don't want that. There are people out there in the industry that don't want that. They are jealous of this. They are jealous of BTS. So I had to sidestep y'all into that. But I'm going to do a whole video and I'm going to break it down, the things that I've heard and why this is an issue for the industry as a whole and as BTS, because these people are out to diminish. They're not going to play fair. They didn't play fair before. They're not going to play fair now. They not. And I'm like, y'all, they not. Unless they get their piece of the pie, they don't want to see no Korean group on top winning album of the year. Even if BTS come out with the best album of all time that year, they're not going to acknowledge that, oh, this is the best album. They're going to be like, oh, it's a cute little K-pop album, even though BTS is going to outperform and outsell all of those damn people at that award show. And we all know they do, and they will. and they're going to diminish it and try to be like, well, it's just K-pop, like they always try to do. Like they always try to make out like we're just a bunch of children and we're grown people buying these albums and spending this money, because that's what they do. So they try to diminish BTS. Um, some think that they should, right, Ice Queen, exactly. BTS deserve a Grammy. I didn't see groups and singers that was here one day and gone, and now you don't even know who they are, and they ain't got a Grammy. And it's sad that BTS have been in the industry this long, and they've sold this much, and they've done so much for not just people talk about the Korean industry. BTS has done a lot for the American music industry. The American music industry stocks right now are in a slump, y'all. So it's not just BTS doing things for the industry. Korean industry, they do it for American music too. The more people that are on Spotify watching YouTube videos, the more that rubs off on other artists in the industry. So they all bring them up, not just Korea. And people know this, and people know this, but they don't want it, because if BTS start winning a lot more awards and this album come out and does well, they feel like they're going to lose grip on like being able to have a piece of the pie, and then like the Western artist domination. They want the Western artists to continue to dominate in the music sphere in the West. They do not want Korean artists to be there for a myriad of reasons, but especially now with the political sentiment in our country, it's not going to be a good look. So they're going to make sure that they understand that you Korean artists, y'all need to go on, stay in y'all place now. And I just think it's sad and it's pathetic. And I don't think it's right. Did our Army match BTS donation $1 million in 24 hours? That is who Army. Yeah, Army is powerful. They scared armies. Yeah, and then the American artists, the American artists, they collaborate. Yes, they bring them along. And so I tell people like, oh, BTS don't need, to be honest with you, I'm just going to keep it real. Like, I'm not trying to flex. BTS don't need to collaborate with nobody. The Western artists need to collaborate with them. BTS don't need, they don't need, but I understand the game that they have to play. If you bring a Western artist, then the Western industry is more apt to play your record. They're more apt to put your album out there. So I understand what the game is. That's why they use Western artists, even though BTS has enough clout. But in the industry, if some Western artist is not on your album and they ain't getting their money, then they are less apt to be motivated to push your album or to push your song or whatever it is. So I understand why they collaborate with Western artists. But at the end of the day, it's the Western artists clout chasing them. That's how I feel. Because like no shade to Glorilla and J-Hope. I love Glorilla. She cool. No problem, sister. But at the end of the day, J-Hope is bigger than Glorilla. J-Hope is bigger than her. So for her to be on a J-Hope album, that's a come up for her, not for J-Hope. He J-Hope. So they will try to treat Samantha. But they won't cheat. They'll just change the rules, just like Spotify and YouTube is doing with the video counts. Just like they finna do. Spotify gonna change the rules again. BTS gonna come out and they gonna shut down Spotify, and Spotify gonna come back and be like, well, the data says, well, we're gonna tinker it to where you can't have this amount. They always keep moving the goalposts and changing the rules. They always want to change the rules with BTS. The only reason the Spotify has all these rules now is because of K-pop. Because the K-pop fans will download songs. So now they be like, okay, well, you got to have a different account. Now it's like, well, the IP address has to be different. And then then you use a VPN. Well, no, that don't really count. They start moving the goalpost. Because they don't want to be like, they don't want to pay. Spotify don't want to pay. But then the other thing about it is they don't want bot accounts, but they know their army is not bots. They know their army, K-pop fans is rabid, and they're going to keep downloading these songs. So now they start taking away like, well, these are duplicates, and they start doing the same thing with YouTube. When YouTube quietly announced 2 months ago that they were changing the views on the YouTube videos. They changing the algorithm now. So now YouTube ain't pushing certain things that they're pushing when it comes to K-pop. And then they took away a whole bunch of views from BTS. If y'all remember 6 months ago, they started taking views from these K-pop, especially BTS, on YouTube. Why? because they understand they like, okay, we got to tweak the algorithm and tweak this and tweak that. They do that because of K-pop. Because if they showed that BTS is doing all these downloads and all these views, it delegitimizes Western music. In Western music, there's a lot of industry plants. I watched a whole video about industry plants in the music industry, which that's been around a long time. But how prevalent it is now and how the industry pushes certain favorites over others, and BTS ain't never been the favorite because they're owned by a Korean company. So they yeah, but they've been doing that for years. But I'm saying what's changed now is the political atmosphere of it. That's what's changed. So I think that some of these Grammy committees and stuff like that, they don't want to face political backlash. So they are going to really be hell bent on trying to kind of put BTS in this box. Because again, I can't see in any conceivable way that they're gonna let BTS win like album of the year. They'll like do a K-pop tour, even though they have the highest selling tour. These awards places do not want BTS to be like the top album, the top record, the top song. They don't want that. They're like, we're gonna push you, and I think Grammys are gonna start further adding more categories. So wait for it. Watch the Grammys are gonna announce like, oh, we'll see, we're adding, and then y'all gonna sit there and be like, what? Yeah, we're gonna add this category, and it's gonna be like popular album, popular. Like you're gonna be like, wait, what? Yeah, we're gonna push you over to this category because it looks bad. It's not a good look for a Korean act right now to be winning the top honors at the Billboards, American Music Awards, or the Grammys. It's just not going to be a good look politically. And I think that some people are starting to understand that, like, they may not understand it now, but they understand in the future when BTS come back, it's going to hit real hard. And they're going to try to cheat us. I'm telling you, I just have that feeling that they're going to try to do whatever they can to try to diminish BTS's reach, but it won't be stopped. It just, Army's going to get mad and just start cussing people out on the internet like they used to. So I'm just telling y'all, don't be surprised. I'm gonna do a video about this talk, but don't be surprised if some executives may put something on their social media, kind of being passive aggressive or throwing low key shade at BTS. Like they may be like, oh, or if these. Let me give you another example, and I'm gonna leave this at this. Don't be surprised if certain magazines, entertainment or music magazines, I don't know who, when they start doing these lists at the beginning of 2026, listing the most anticipated album or the most anticipated tour, don't be surprised. For us, BTS is number one. I can't think of any tour that I've heard about in 2026 that is more anticipated than BTS. But don't be surprised if you start reading these lists. They do the end of the year list or beginning of the year list. Don't be surprised if they put BTS like number 6 or 7. And all the Army is going to be like, wait a minute, BTS album, the most anticipated album of 2026. You're gonna be like, who is a Morgan Wallen album? Bitch, you done lost your mind. Like I'm not saying that's who it's gonna be, but I'm saying don't be surprised if y'all read these lists and they gonna low key be like, oh, BTS coming back. That's gonna be number 4 or 5 or 6 on certain lists. They're gonna try to shade BTS in some way. So for us, they should be number 1. BTS is the most anticipated comeback group I have heard in a long time. So like I said, that's one example I can give you. Don't be surprised if the industry started to do these things to try to be like, oh, well, BTS is, they number 4 or 5. And we like, who? And the people that they put in front of them, we all are going to be like, why? Who? Because I've heard that. I'm like, BTS should be the number 1 most anticipated album and comeback in a long time. Any list that they make next year, BTS should be 1 or 2 or 3. But I promise you, don't be surprised if some publications are going to try to knock them down a peg, because that's just the name of the game, Oh, you knew Army? I've been Army since August of last year. I'm happy that I'm arrived at that part of their career as well. But BTS, No shade to any idols. They won't. They are planning their tours and things around BTS because they know that they're not going to be able to compete. But I promise you, they're going to try to throw some shade. They're going to make their little lists and they're going to try to knock BTS down these lists too. And Army's going to get mad, but y'all will come back and be like, "Damn, you were right." I'm like, "Yeah." And I said, "You're going to see starting next year in January, you're going to see the shade start where they're going to try to find every way to try to diminish the comeback of BTS because again, it doesn't do the American music industry any favors to elevate a Korean artist right now in this political climate. You talking about Nikita said they did the same thing to MJ back in the day. I wasn't a big MJ fan, did they? They talking about the scammers now. The gram they did, you know what? I take that back, Nikita. They did. I have heard that. Just like MJ, they will come. BTS will be fine. They will overcome it. I mean, for sure. The proof is, I always say the proof is in the money. I said people can spin any kind of narrative they want to, but the proof is in the money. And BTS will prove to everybody that they are number one in the business for a reason. And BTS are number one. There's nothing in pop music like BTS. I challenge anybody. I don't give a damn. Besides Taylor Swift or Beyonce, there's nobody else in the game like BTS. There's no, I can honestly, unequivocally tell you, there is no male artist, especially in pop music right now, that holds the brand power like BTS. There's no male artist that it comes close. BTS is top tier. It's top tier. And they should be up there. They're global superstars, and not just a K-pop group. They're global superstars. And like I said, and people try to not give them their flowers and try to minimize the things that they've accomplished, but the proof is always in the money. I told people it's the numbers. The proof are in the numbers. That's it. It doesn't matter what anybody says. The proof is always in the numbers. There are a lot of legends that never won a Grammy. Yes, then there's reasons behind that. Just depends on who it was. But again, they will invite you to their award shows because they want clicks and views, but then they don't want to give you a Grammy. The Grammy committee is something else. Like I could do a whole video about that too, about the Grammy selection and nomination and the process, because it's really who you know. That's how the Grammys have always been. It's who you know and who you can hang out with in LA and who likes you. If the industry bigwigs in the because the committee is mostly made up of executives, agents in the industry, producers, composers. If they like you, you win. If you go and you rub elbows and you hobnob and you go to the parties, you will win. I mean, that's just how it's who you know. It's not really like whether you're good or not. And who you bang. And see, AK, I didn't want to say that, but you said that too. Who you sleep with. Um, they have an incredible reach. But again, in America, we're not talking about reach, we're talking about categories. The VMAs, all of these award shows have started doing this. Before K-pop became big, they just had categories. K-pop became big, now you're best K-pop concert. Okay. Best K-pop male artist, best K-pop female group, best K-pop group. I tell people, so why do they start creating these categories? Because they don't want K-pop to compete. They don't want K-pop to compete in main categories. They want to be like, you're K-pop, you get over it. Like I said, I will always be salty about the Jungkook thing. Jungkook should never have been in the male K-pop category. Never. He should have been up in the pop category with all the rest of these other people that now have these people in the categories. I don't even know who the hell they are. But they should not have a separate K-pop category. And they created a K-pop category and everybody was like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, that's not cool. They don't want y'all to compete. They want y'all to be over here. You know, I heard they were going to put a K-pop category in Grammy. Don't. Yeah, they do. They are going to put a K-pop category in the Grammys. They're going to try to do everything to try to diminish it. They will try. They were like, oh, we make a K-pop category. We get y'all out of here. Or they even started the best group duo category. And then they put K-pop there all the time. I'm like, can we not put them in that? And then this past year, how the Grammys just like, oh, okay, they ignored BTS all their solo stuff altogether. They pretty much virtually ignored it. You know, because they're not getting any money, Deidre. The American industry don't get any money. They don't own BTS. They have a distribution deal with Geffen. I don't know if they have that anymore, but we're going to talk about HYBE too. But they're not getting money. That's the same thing about BTS, the controversy about them being not being played on the radio. BTS didn't get no radio play, barely any radio play, and they still were popular because of social media. But that's a whole thing about radio. I can do it. That's another conversation too about why they weren't played on the radio back in the day. That they did everything. They would go and do these radio interviews and everything, and the people would dog them out when they would do the radio interview. Armies would send cupcakes, armies would send flowers to these radio stations. These people would throw away the cupcakes. These people would do armies dirty. They would send armies would send all kinds of notes and emails and telling people, please, can you please play BTS on the radio? Armies would call and request BTS to be played on the radio. They wouldn't do it. Poor BTS touring around the country, interviewing with radio stations to try to get them to put them on the radio. And it's a whole conversation about how the radio thing works. But it's still, even though payola is illegal, there is still a form of payola with ads and advertisers that goes on in the industry. But they did not want to put BTS on the radio. They reluctantly, begrudgingly, after BTS became really, really big, then they started to play them on the radio. And there's some conspiracy theories around that as well. But they did them dirty. They did. You go back and watch. I watched so many videos about how all this stuff went down. And I'm like, okay, so this is what we doing. And they did. They surpassed the K-pop category a long time ago. You know, you heard Dynamite in the grocery store. Me too. I hear it in the grocery store. Yeah, because they won't play along with the industry. Yes. And the industry is not making any money. And they won't pay the certain advertisers that they need to pay. I don't know if that has to be the issue. Because again, payola is illegal. You can't pay to get played on the radio. However, there's ways of getting around that. They get around that by offering advertising deals and packages to radio stations. That's how they get around that. Because payola is illegal. Hello, Maria. No, I didn't say Paula. I said payola. That does sound like your name. A lot of people hear Butter and Dynamite. Yeah. And they have no idea there was BTS. Thank you, Ice Queen. Exactly. Yes, indeed. When I say BTS, people are like, who? And then I'm like, smooth like butter, criminal undercover. People are like, I know that song. I'm like, yeah, like people know when I sing the songs, people understand. When I sing the songs, Dynamite and Butter, then people are like, I've heard that before. They've heard it on the radio. They've heard it at the grocery store. They've heard it in a commercial, whatever. But they don't know it's BTS. So BTS has a song recognition, but the brand and the naming recognition is the issue. And it's the issue. So it's not like BTS is not popular, but mainstream casual fan popularity, BTS is not popular. Not like that. So there you go. There you go. So I don't understand. I mean, I do understand the industry because they're not going to get money. They're not going to get money. And if they are not making money off of you, you're not a priority when it comes to marketing. You're not a priority. So the fact that Bang PD did all of these things and did all of these things, and he still created an empire is quite amazing. I did a video about Bang PD too, about like just an overview about BTS and everything. She's talking about Cherie said she got her whole family involved. Girl, nobody in my family likes K-pop. Not nobody. Well, I have my sister-in-law. She's the one that introduced me to K-pop, so she does. But yeah, so we talked about BTS in the industry. I'm also going to talk about Spring Day. Spring Day, speaking of publications, Rolling Stone had like their 250 best songs. Spring Day was number 37. Spring Day is a very popular song in period in South Korea. It always charts. It's been on the charts forever. Spring Day, it's not one of my personal BTS favorite songs, but I appreciated the musicality of it. I love the beat. I love the Spring Day beat. Like there's YouTube channels where you can just play the beat on a loop. I would listen to the beat on the loop. But yeah, they said number 37 is Spring Day. Because of the ferry, yes, the ferry thing. I remember when that tragedy happened, I was at work. I remember I was at work and I heard about it. And I remember I was like, what is happening? And I remember it made international news here. But Yeah, so Spring Day is number 37, and I love the beat. Like the beat is I love that beat. I love that beat is just it's iconic. It's I love Spring Day. It's not one of my favorites again because I'm not really into like slow songs like that, but hey, multi-stand. Oh, you brings you to tears. A lot of people feel that way. Yeah, about Spring Day. So it's totally deserved number 37. I mean, I don't know who wrote that song. I was gonna say Sugar wrote that song, but I don't know. But anyway, don't give me the line up in here. But the beat, whoever composed that song, the composition of the song, I am finna talk about Namjoon, but the composition of the song is great. So last on the BTS, definitely not least, we talked about BTS a lot because I go off on a tangent. We're gonna talk about RM. So like I was saying, RM did a Weverse, right? He did a Weverse live. And he got on his Weverse and he was just chatting and he was just talking. He first started out talking about his diets and his habits and his hair is growing out, so he was wearing a hat. It was the beginning of Chuseok. That weekend is when a lot of people are out of town. So he was at home and it's been raining in South Korea at the time. So he was saying that it was raining. It was kind of a gloomy day. And he said he just wanted to hop on. It's been a while since he hop on. He talked a little bit about the album and things like that. And he talked about how much, again, his weight is lost, how busy he's been doing the album. He talked about the rings on his fingers. He talked about his earrings, about him changing up his style a little bit, which I thought was cute. And then, then RM, he proceeded, and like I did a whole video about this. So go and watch the video about my analysis, my commentary about his Weverse. In essence, in other words, to make a long story short, let me add some context. Being a K-pop singer is a lot of smoke and mirrors. It's a lot of you're not supposed to really be candid about your feelings and all that kind of stuff. RM was very candid. He really talked about marriage. He talked about that he's basically lonely. He was saying that a lot of his friends are married and have kids. He said that by the time that he's 31. So he said by the time his parents were 31, they already had him. That he was already a 3-year old. What would it be like to be married and already have a 3-year old by now? And a lot of his friends are married. And again, I can read between the lines because when you get to be a certain age and you're single and all your friends are in a couple or getting married or having kids, and you're living this single bachelor kind of lifestyle, but then all your friends are settled down so they can't go and do things like they used to be able to do because they're busy. Your life is you're living a different lifestyle as a K-pop singer, but especially as a single man, you're living a different lifestyle than a lot of his friends. Korea is a very what people say conservative culture, I guess, outwardly, but marriage rates and birth rates are low in Korea. There are a lot of single people in Korea. The loneliness is an epidemic in Korea. The government is trying to do things to fix it. They've been doing things in the past 5 years to try to fix it, but it's just going to be a slow process. Their birth rates are low. There's a lot of, they have the highest unalive rate in South Korea. There's a lot of depression. There's a lot of it's a high competitive environment. It's a high competitive society, and it's not easy. Apparently, not even for him to be a K-pop singer. So he was just saying that what is like that he was saying that he doesn't like to come home sometimes. That other people like to come home and he doesn't because he has no one to come home to. So, and then he said he was talking about, the olden days and things that went on back in the olden days. He said about that. Um, RM was saying that his feelings get hurt. He says that people expected him to be strong, but he's not really strong, that he's weak. He says that his feelings get hurt, that he gets, I guess, annoyed that his feelings get hurt. So, because he's been in the industry a long time, and I don't know what exactly he was talking about. His feelings get hurt with. I don't know if he reads things online about himself, and he gets. I don't know what it is. So I don't know what he says he feels like he's lacking. He feels like he's nervous a lot about certain things. He's kind of what he's nervous about. I couldn't tell you. He says he reads things. We're talking about RM. Jackson Wang said the same thing. He says to leave light on because he feels like someone is waiting for him to come. I've heard of Jackson Wang. G Dragon has suffered with the same thing as well. There have been times back in the day with G Dragon, from what I've heard, used to do live streams, and he seemed very lonely and he didn't have anyone to talk to. And RM said the reason why he did the Weverse is because he didn't have nobody to talk to. He felt like if he come on, and he said he was saying it, that he wants Army to give all of their strength and love to him, because he says he just feels lacking. I mean, that's a quote, that he felt lacking. Yeah, he knows that Army is really there for him. Nikita said, well, it's expected as they live in a life that as something he can never imagine. Yes. And he said that he is living his dream, and he's grateful and appreciative and everything. So my situation is this. My anger is this. Well, not anger, but I would like to say, I did a video and I talked about it, but I'm going to talk more about it. First of all, let me emphasize, to have a idol to get on a Weverse and say this is blew my mind, because this is not something that an idol would say. And I think that people kind of thought that, like, okay, it's share time. Koreans don't do this, y'all, especially a Korean man. Like, this is not something that Korean idols do, much less a Korean man, especially a Korean guy. Korean men are socialized, just like in every patriarchal society, to be stoic, to tough it through, don't whine. And I'm sure there was some kind of blowback after what he did. I'm sure somebody has something to say about what this man did. And what he said was sad, yes. And he is human, but the idea of him vocalizing it on a Weverse, I don't know how helpful that was, because I'm sure once he got off this Weverse, his family, his friends, management may have had to pull him to the side and be like, okay, RM, so, okay, thank you, AK. So what are we talking about now? So I'm sure that this did not go over well, in my opinion, allegedly, behind the scenes. There may have been some blowback to this, because again, he is an idol. He is there to put on a certain image, to have a certain image before. This was very irregular. And like I said, in K-pop, one of the first things I learned about in K-pop was the death of Sully, Guhara, Moonbin. These are the things I learned early in K-pop, because when I first started liking K-pop in 2022, I remember the Parasite actor, all these people unalived themselves. And I asked my sister-in-law, I said, what in the God's name is happening with K-drama actors and K-pop singers? Why are they unaliving themselves? Because it was like, boom, when I joined K-pop, it's like one right after another, right after another. So I'm telling people that this is highly unusual. This is not something that everybody just does. They don't. This is not something that men would even admit to their family and friends that they were struggling. They should. But it doesn't happen very often. So I showed the video to Korean people, non-K-pop fans, because I wanted to know, what are y'all opinion of this? And I got varied opinions. But for the older generation, for those of Koreans who are not K-pop singers, they're familiar with BTS, of course. They watch the video, they watch certain parts. And for a lot of the men are like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. Like, you don't put your business out there. That is the reaction I got from most, like, Koreans who weren't armies, that this is highly unusual. They're like, he came on live and said this to millions of people. Like, what was he thinking? That's what I heard from Koreans. They were like, oh my God, what was he thinking? They was like, why would he do this? Like, oh my, like, they were perplexed as to why this rich and famous person would go on a Weverse and say these things. This is highly irregular, y'all. This is not something that somebody do every day. Even for RM. RM came out the military and he was candid about the military, but it was the military and I got it and I understood. I asked other people in Korea who've been in the military and they told me that the ups and downs, okay, I got it. But for him to come back, he got the military in June and now it's October, and for him to say this, it gave me pause. Because I'm like, okay, honey, do you have a therapist? Because these are certain things I feel like he should be talking with somebody about, and I think that these are things that I don't think I would air in front of everybody on Weverse. I wouldn't have, because in the industry, they're looking at a person's reputation and everything like that. And I think RM was being honest. I think he was being candid. I don't know what motivated him to say these things. I mean, I'm glad he's speaking the truth. I don't have an issue with it, but I'm just saying that for him, it's a snowball. It's like, okay, I'm feeling some type of way and I feel I need to express some way to the fans. But then there's going to be blowback behind the scenes about it, which then there's blowbacks, and then that blowback could potentially make you feel some way about yourself. And then that in turns into another spiral. So again, like I think of these things in 360. I'm like, okay, he's gonna say this, he's gonna get in trouble. Somebody gonna say something. I was like, oh, this not gonna go over well. That's one of the things I said, I think that they use Army as therapy. Right. They shouldn't be using Army as therapy. RM has his own journey, and he has to live his life. But if he has issues and problems, which all of them do in K-pop, they do. But the way to mitigate that, what doesn't happen in Korea is that they don't seek help. And I don't know, maybe RM does have a therapist. We don't know. But I'm just saying, I can't see any therapist advising him to do something like this. Most therapists would be like, oh, okay, what are you doing? They'd be horrified. They'd be like, no, 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 don't do that. Like, I can't see any therapist green lighting like this type of behavior. I think they would be horrified. Like, oh my God, like, okay, what do we, because it doesn't make things better. I can't see in any situation where this would make things better for RM. It would just put more heat on him, behind the scenes with and like I said, his family. His parents probably watched this or got back to them, and they probably like, honey, I don't know what reaction the parents would have. Maybe the parents had like, oh my God. And then maybe the parents were embarrassed. Like, then the parents have friends who are going to be like, your son was on a Weverse talking about he lonely and he ain't got no girlfriend. And you're like, okay, yeah, and then in Asian society, it's all about saving face and not being embarrassed. So I can imagine what his parents must have thought, like, holy crap, like, okay, now people are talking about this, and my friends are asking, and our relatives are calling us, and they are concerned. So again, this may be something that may get the ball rolling behind the scenes that may be unintended. But again, I don't think RM was thinking about that. I think he just wanted to speak his truth, and that's fine. But again, it's the consequences behind it that can cause more stress on him as a person, more heat on him. And whether he can deal with it and take it or not, that's between him and his friends and his family and community. I don't know. Maybe some BTS members had something to say about it. Maybe they was like, dude, like what? Like maybe you shouldn't really get on there. And, we're gonna suspend your privileges. Stumping the stigma of mental health. He does see a psychiatrist from time to time. He says he's gonna start going back. Okay, well then that's good. You know, they do. Let me tell you, HYBE. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Okay. Allegedly, a lot of these big K-pop companies actually have mental health protocols in place. Okay, so a lot of these companies, I can't speak for HYBE specifically, but they do have mental health professionals on call. They have it to where you don't have to go to a mental health office because, again, if you are a K-pop singer and you get caught dead going to some therapist's office, they may be dispatching the trees, taking pictures of you and be like, there she go. There she go. So what they have is to where they have on-call services where the therapist or whoever will go to the company's office, and they will be like set up a day and time. And so you will go to like I said, hypothetically speaking, you will go to the HYBE office, and the therapist will be in their office or whatever, and tell you what office that they're in, and you set up a day and time and you go talk to them. So nobody will ever really know that you're really going to a therapist, because you're not actually going to the therapist's office if you want to see the person in person. Or they have ability to where you can set up a Zoom call or something like that. But sometimes people want to be able to be in the same office and meet this person face to face. But they have it to where they can meet them face to face without them going to an office and being embarrassed and their privacy being violated. Or they have it to certain situations where the therapist will actually come to you, depending on how profiled the person is and what their schedule are. So yes, a lot of these big four or five companies, they do have a healthcare professional on retainer. As to whether HYBE has this or not, I can't really say. But I'm just saying that's what I heard. That so yes, they do have services. So they can either get somebody through the company, and this is for employees as executives as well. So they can get somebody through your employer, or you can go on your own and get your own, therapist or whatever, whatever. So I hope that RM is seeking help. But I was very alarmed and shocked. That was one thing. The other point I want to bring up is people's reactions and videos I saw to this. There are two camps, and both of these camps annoyed me. Here we go. Camp number one, I saw a video, and I won't say what YouTube channel, where they were like downplaying what RM was saying. They were like, oh, well, RM is just being reflective, and he he still, he was just trying to work things through. Don't do that. Okay. Don't do that. So that was one reaction. Then there's another reaction that armies were alarmed and they wanted to fix RM somehow. Well, we should help him. We should fix him. Only RM can do that. Let me tell you why I feel this way. And I'm gonna try not to cry. When I lost my husband, and I'm not saying RM lost anybody. I don't think he, not that we know of, that he's lost anybody or anything like that. But I can tell you, somebody who's been through grief, that when I lost somebody, and the things that I heard is the same things that I heard when I lost my husband. Now, these are well-meaning people. Armies are well-meaning, and these YouTubers are well-meaning, okay? But they were like, oh, RM will be fine, and da-da-da-da-da. Don't do that. When I lost my husband, people told me, you're strong, Kiki. You'll be fine. You'll get through this. The last thing I can tell you that anybody wants to hear who is going through anything is, you'll be okay. You're strong. And I heard that on videos. Well, RM is strong. You don't know. He was saying that he wasn't strong. But people say this not to make you feel better or the person, is to make them feel better. I went through this. I heard, Kiki, you strong. You'll be fine. You take time and I hate when people say that. I hate that. That annoys me. It was so bad that this is a person I subscribed to, that I had to turn off the video. That's how bad it triggered me. Because I hate when people like, RM will be okay and he's strong, and you don't know. You don't know. It's what I went through. When my husband died, people like, Keisha, you be okay? And, oh, it's fine. And I know they were well-meaning. And I know they cared about me. But that's not what I needed to hear. I just needed somebody to listen to me. I'm like, my husband's dead. Like, okay, why are you telling me that I'm going to be okay? What if I'm not going to be okay? How long is it going to take me before I'll be okay? Shit, my husband died when 24. It's been 11 years. I'm still not okay. I'm still not okay. It's something that I have to carry with me for the rest of my life. But I got so many people who are like, you're strong. And I understand that that's a cultural thing as well in South Korean culture. Well, you'll get through it, and you're strong, and you can, it's the same thing in the Black community as well. And I understand these people are well-meaning. I understand these people love RM. But to hear somebody who I really like as a content creator make a video about RM and then try to downplay what this man is talking about and try to emphasize other things, I'm like, it triggered me. Because I'm like, don't do that. When people go through things, I just listen. I try not to overanalyze. I try not to be like, well, they're going to be okay, because we honestly just don't know. And I understand why people, and I used to do the same thing until my husband died. Now I just learned to sit back and be like, are you going to be okay? Okay. And I just said, so with RM, I just sat back and listened. There's no reason. I think somebody listened to RM's Weverse and they were getting defensive. I think they were watching it going, well, he has to be okay. I don't know why people do this. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that RM is okay or not okay. We don't know. We don't live with this man. I don't know. All I can do is listen. But the idea that some people were trying to like downplay what he said or act like he was just venting, or he was just, RM thinks a lot and he was just trying to work things out. No, he wasn't trying to analyze and work things out. He was expressing his emotions. He was expressing how he was feeling. And it's best for us, in my opinion, just listen. I watched that video over and over. I watched it, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, 5 or 6 times, and it was heartbreaking for me to watch because I understand the same things that he was talking about, the same things I've experienced in my life. Again, I'm a person that went through grief. I've lost my mom. When I lost my husband, I thought I was gonna lose my mind. Okay. And to have people telling me you're strong, you're a strong person, huh? Like I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I'm like, I'm human. I'm human. Like, yeah, yes, I've had to be strong because I had 2 babies. I had kids to take care of. I had responsibilities, but I didn't want to be strong. I didn't want people to tell me I was strong. I just wanted to be vulnerable. I just want people to be like, okay, I'm listening. What can I do to help? And I know we can't help RM and we can't fix them or anything like that. But for people to get on their YouTube channels and just gloss over this, I'm telling you, I was insane. I was enraged. I was like, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't try to emphasize the other things that he said, the good things, and try to gloss over. He said what he said and try to be like, well, things got mistranslated. No, it didn't. I have Koreans watch the shit and tell me. I'm like, okay, tell me what was said. And then they like, okay, Keisha, it said blah, 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 blah. Yeah, RM has a big heart. I got Ice Queen. I got so choked up because I understand. I understand. My husband died. I was left on this earth literally by myself with 2 babies. I sat in a closet for a week. My mom was there. My mom had to take care of my kids because I was a wreck. And then I had people, friends, and well-meaning people telling me, you'll get through with this. Thoughts and prayers. You'll get through this. You're strong. Why are you telling me this? As I'm sitting here in a closet with a bottle of wine crying, as I'm sitting here going, I'm losing, I felt like my sanity was being lost. The last thing you want to hear from somebody is, oh, well, you're strong and they'll be okay. And, we don't know. I honestly can say I don't know. I'm like Ice Queen. I just listened. And again, y'all know what I always do. I turn the volume off and I watch people's body movements and people's eyes. And when I watched RM's eyes, it's a look of loneliness and sadness. It's a look that I recognize. And I'm like, there it is. I recognize that. And it's a hill that I've had to climb myself even today. For me, I don't have any parents. I don't have any brothers. I don't have any brothers and sisters. My mother-in-law passed away. Both my parents passed away within the past 5 years. My husband is gone. My grandparents are gone. They died a long time ago. My uncles, my aunts and uncles are gone. Yeah. So I'm like, people tell me all the time, but you're so strong and well adjusted. No, I'm not. Not. I have kids to take care of. Hello, Arminda. We're talking about RM. We're talking about RM's Weverse. And it's just like I said, there is somebody on YouTube that I admire and I love their channel. But to sit here and watch, I couldn't even finish the video. Like I watched HYBE's video and I thought his video was very tasteful and gave you a lot of insight. But this other person's video of how she tried to make it like this was just RM just talking and him being honest, I was like, no, honey, this is a cry for help. This is a cry for help. I'm like, I didn't watch this video 5 times and I'm like, that's not good. That's not good. I'm like, why are you telling people like, well, he said he was grateful and gratitude and he'll be okay. And why are you telling your audience this? I would never get on here and tell y'all if Sugar got on here and said, Sugar said, damn it, I'm going through some things right now and y'all pray for me. I would be like, y'all better pray for this man. Y'all better pray for my bias. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, Sugar be okay. I don't know. I don't know. I love RM. I don't know him personally. I tell you all the time, RM is like my twin. I feel like a kinship. I'm not into the woo-woo, y'all. I'm not into the mystical a lot. But I do feel like me and RM are like on the same wavelength. Like I feel like me and RM, I know this sounds crazy. I feel like me and RM are living like parallel lives. I understand what it means. Like I said, me who came from nothing, who been through so many things. I live the lifestyle and have all the trappings I could never dream of a girl who grew up poor. I grew up poor. I grew up eating government food. I grew up, my grandmother doing the best that she can to raise me. I grew up in a bad neighborhood where people were, just drive-bys and shit. I grew up not thinking that I was ever going to get out of that situation. Now I'm here. I live. Some of y'all who subscribe to my channel who are members, I've shown y'all like my neighborhood, what neighborhood I live in, because always trying to get BTS to move my neighborhood. I'm trying to get them to shoot. I'm trying to shoot my shot here. Y'all don't laugh, but I'm always trying to get BTS. So some of the people who have paid memberships, I show y'all, like I had a video where I was showing y'all my neighborhood, like where I live. And so this is opulent. I've never dreamed of having a career that I have. I have a good career. I have a good job. I'm an artist. Everything. To have all of these things and have wonderful kids who are on honor roll and have all of these things that I am grateful for. That I don't lack anything monetarily. I'm successful. I'm smart. I'm successful. I've done all of the things, but now I got even a damn YouTube channel. So I've done a lot of the things that I like to do. But to live this life and to think that I'm living this life and um that I spent so many years with my family and they're not here. Um, it is it can be difficult. And to have everything that you want, but then you're like, okay, well, I don't really have a person. And so I understood what RM was saying. To have friends and family that have partners and people. And I guess he kind of feels like life is passing him by. Like, okay, well, how long is it going to be? And then what I took it as that RM is also single. I can sit there and say that I'm not breaking any gossip, that he's also single. And I don't know how long he's been single. And then this weekend he went to a wedding, y'all. So that really hit home to me. I said, okay. He went to his friend's wedding. He was the MC at it. He went to another wedding with J-Hope and Sugar for their, I think their stylist. And then he went to another wedding this weekend. He was out there in the rain, looking cute, smiling like he was supposed to. And he was out there in the rain. It was raining, and he was MCing another friend's wedding. So I can understand why he's like, okay, I done went to 2 damn weddings. I don't have anybody. I go home and there's nobody. So I can understand why he said what he said. And I can understand you thinking like, okay, so am I going to be alone for the rest of my life? Or because these are thoughts that I have. And I just don't want anybody to try to gloss over this like, oh, well, RM, he'll be fine. Because we don't know. Only thing I can help for RM is that he understands that the fans, we care. And I care about him not because he BTS. I care because he's a human being. Because he's a human being. I wonder if he felt better being around some friends at the wedding. He was having a good time. But I understand that like in the back of his mind, he must be thinking like, okay, again, his friends seem like they are getting married. And then here he is like, left behind. And then again, I don't want to have this conversation because it's not my place, but we also, conversation I won't have is about, sexuality and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if RM is gay or straight or whatever. Either way, it doesn't matter, because either way, he would want to have somebody in life. I don't know how long RM has been single or by himself. He may have not had somebody and he's married to his job. He's very busy. He may not have had, somebody it may have been a long time since he's actually, or he may have been in a situation where he hasn't really had a real relationship. Because that happens in K-pop as well. That people in K-pop never had a real relationship. They've had people that they've dated. They've had hookups. They've had people that they've been like friends with benefits type of situation, but never really had a deep, fulfilling emotional relationship. So I don't know. Maybe he's never had that. Maybe he just feeling like, I just want somebody to call my own, somebody to come home to, somebody that's waiting. I think J-Hope has said that too, that he wanted to be special to somebody. I remember there was an interview with J-Hope, and he said the same thing like a couple of years ago, that he wanted somebody to be special to, somebody that loved him and wanted to be with him, and that he wanted to be special to somebody, and not special because he's famous. Oh, special because they're in love. And I understand that they work a hard hitting job. V, Sugar, Jen, and Jimin were the safety pin in my heart. my heart when I learned what they meant, but also relieve the promise involved in wearing the pin. Aw, Charisse. But yeah, my best bet for BTS is for all of them to find whatever that they're looking for. Some of them may be happy being bachelors. Some of them may be in relationships right now. Some of them may be still looking for their person. I was fortunate enough for me. I was fortunate enough to find my person. I had somebody. We had a good 8 years. And then and we had ups and downs in our relationship, but then he passed away. But it is something I know for me that I have not yet I recovered from it, but I haven't really recovered from it. If you understand what I'm saying, it's like to lose a child or a spouse. I have lost a child. Um, I've lost a lot. When I tell people this, people are like, I'm surprised you're sane. It's yeah, he didn't want to come home to an empty house. And I thought about myself, and I said in my last video, I couldn't imagine coming home and not having my children. That blew my mind. After I watched this video a few times, I thought, what would it be like for me to come home and not have my kids? I don't have many friends. I work a lot. I'm busy a lot. When I'm not working on my YouTube, I'm working on my regular channel. What would it be like to come home and not hear anything? What would it be like to come home? I have 3 pets and 2 kids. What would that literally shook me? That terrified me. I wouldn't be able to do it. Hello, Bobby Smith. I wouldn't be able to do it either. What would it be like for me to come home, my house be quiet? I couldn't imagine that. When I'm here by myself and my kids are at school, it's too quiet. I have to turn the TV on. I have to have some music going. I look at the clock and wait for my kids to come home because I'm like, I don't want to be here by myself. I'm not used to being home. Before my mom passed away, she lived with us. My mom passed away. My mom used to live with us. And so I was always used to have my mom to go talk to. And my mom passed away. It was devastating, So I couldn't imagine not having, that. Like it took me, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, years before I got used to like sleeping in the bed by myself. Like it would freak me out. I wasn't used to, what, I used to sitting there sleeping in bed by myself. Like, I spent 8 years with somebody in the same bed with somebody. So now I got to be laying here by myself at night. So I sleep with the TV on because I still I sleep with the TV on because I got to hear something in the background. I got to have a light. I don't like sleeping in the dark because I still spent many years not sleeping by myself. And I still am not used to not sleeping by myself. So I couldn't imagine like coming home and I ain't got no kids. I ain't got no, I don't wish that. And some people, and then we all have different needs. I have to say that as well. Some of us want to be alone. I'm an introvert, but then I do like a house full of people. Like I don't like to clean a house full of people, but I'm an introvert, but I couldn't imagine. Nikita said he moved back to hometown away from my kids. I can tell you it took some adjusting. My 2 oldest grand moved here, so now I have them. I was 59 when I moved, and it was hard. I always have the light on in the background noise. Always. I can't. I'm not AK. I couldn't imagine like when my kids are young now, so they're not out of the house. But I can imagine when my daughter says she's never leaving. She says she's never leaving me, and I'm gonna hold her to it. Like we're gonna be traveling around the world together. My daughter's convinced that she's gonna go to college and we're gonna travel around the world together. And that's just she's like, I'm never leaving my mother. And my son, he told me he wants to leave, but I don't know. I was like, well, we'll see how much money you're making before you decide to move out. But I would love for my kids to live with me forever. Like I enjoy my children. I love my children. My children keep me young to bring me joy. But like I said, my kids are young. So I had my kids at a later life. But I couldn't, it took a while for me to adjust. But for RM to come home and not have anybody, for him to admit that is shocking. But for him to just admit that he feels nervous and he feels lacking and he says his feelings get hurt easily. And I'm like, well, what is that all about? I found that very compelling. That he was saying that his feelings, and he was saying that they shouldn't. My feelings shouldn't get hurt easily, but they do. And he said that, people expect him to be strong, but he's not. And I'm like, well, I want to know, RM, what your feelings get hurt about. So I'm thinking, does he read things online and does his feelings get hurt, y'all? What do y'all think about that? So do you think, because, and then I asked my sister-in-law and I told her, and she was like, well, throughout the years, because she's been a BTS fan longer than I have, she said throughout the years, people have said a lot of bad stuff about RM online. And I was like, really? Because again, I'm new to all this. So she was saying that online that people have said a lot of mean things to RM. People have called him ugly and a lot of stuff. And I was like, does he read this stuff? And does he doom scroll and reads this stuff? And he gets his feelings hurt? You know, I don't know. Should they live together again? I think a fan asked him that about living together, and he said he had fun in LA. He RM, I think in that video he was saying that he likes socializing with people. He said some of the other members don't, and that they want to do is come home. But RM said he don't want to come home. You know, some people like I'm afraid to tell you. I think my bias would be the type of person that he was talking about that some people like to come home. I feel like my bias Sugar is the type of person that likes solitude. I think Sugar likes to be by himself. I think Sugar probably his social battery gets drained very quickly like mine. And I think that Sugar likes to not socialize and just come home and just do his thing and cook and clean and watch TV and tinker around and listen to music and watch cat video. I think Sugar, you know, I probably prefers to be a more home more alone, you know. But you know, yeah. And he says he's lonely. He said, you know, I'm lonely. He said no, he says he was lonely, and he was. And I still can't believe that people think RM. I know y'all be out. They let me tell you, these ladies on my channel be going in for Nam June. They be going hard over Nam June. They like Nam June, Nam June. They be talking about Nam June, my husband, man, Nam June, my other baby daddy. Like I've met so many people who Nam June is their bias that I was just like, but then I have read things online where people have said bad things about RM saying he's ugly. And I'm always quick to rush in and be like, y'all leave Namjoon alone. They're like, oh, he can't dance and he ugly. Like I've heard people say things like this online, you know. And you know, Susan said RM cares so much about others. He has a love for people. I think he does. I think, and I told y'all in my video that I posted it, you know, again, for those who haven't seen it, I said, I feel like a kinship with RM. I feel like RM is a deep thinker and an overthinker. And I honestly feel strongly that I feel like RM is one of these people that is looking for his soulmate. I think RM is one of these people that he may like a beautiful, he likes beauty. He may like somebody that's good looking or whatever that he's into, and he may like the physical. But I think RM wants somebody that's on his level, like mentally and emotionally. And I think RM is into spirituality. He likes to read. I think RM is very intelligent. He was very intelligent in high school. I said it before, and I said I think RM wants to find someone that is on his level. And I think in the industry that he's in, it may be harder for him to find somebody. First of all, you need somebody that you need to trust, that's not trying to take your money, that is not clout chasing, that's going to be honest with you, that's going to keep it on the low. That's the big part. And then the other part is I think RM maybe has never met somebody that has stimulated his mind. And for those of us who are overthinkers, I'm an intellectual, I'm an overthinker. I read a lot, I watch a lot of things. BTS is one thing out of 10 that I'm interested in. If y'all know, I write, I'm an artist, I have a regular job, I work in I'm an executive in an accounting field. That's what I do for a living. And and so it's hard for me as well to meet somebody that I feel is serious and somebody that I'm compatible with and somebody that stimulates me mentally. That it's hard, you know. And the more overthinker you are and the more deep of a person you care, you're very empathic and empathetic. It is really hard to find somebody on a really deep level to match you as a partner. And I think I just have a real feeling. I said RM's that kind of guy that he wants somebody that is going to enjoy the things that he does, and they kind of have things, and they're on the same wavelength. And that is hard to find when you are intellectual. It's hard to find somebody that pushes all your buttons to where you're attracted to this person physically and mentally. Because there's a lot of good looking women. You know, I'm sure he's surrounded by good looking women and men all day. Hard for him to find somebody. It's not hard. He don't have to be lonely. Because some people were like, why would he complain about being lonely? He can have any woman he wants to. I said, but RM don't want it, just any woman. He want the woman that's right for him or man, whoever. He's looking for his person. And that is, and like I said, if you're a very superficial person, if you're just into, I just need somebody that looks good, I need somebody that smells good, I need somebody that worships me and is gonna stroke my ego. There are a lot of men out there that want people like that. They just want somebody that strokes their ego. They want somebody to look good, sit down, look pretty, and shut the hell up. That's what a lot of men want, and they don't care whether they are empty-headed, whether they are superficial and immature. They don't care. I think RM is the opposite. I think RM really does care whether the person is mature and whether a person is going to go on this journey of life with him. And like I said, some of us, some of us we're looking for, travelers. Like then the same thing I see within myself. I'm not looking for just any man. I want somebody who we gonna live this life together. And it's gonna be an adventure and it's gonna be a journey. And it's going to be somebody I can have real conversations with, and real deep, meaningful, not surface level. RM does not seem like to me a surface level kind of conversation kind of guy. He seems like the type of person that be like, well, let's talk about religion. Let's talk about history. Let's talk about, and in the kind of business that he's in, he would have to go outside the business, I think, to find somebody he could truly connect with on a mental tip. Who did basically that wants him and not the fact that he's in BTS. He did say the comments get to him sometimes. Oh, that's right, he did, Marie. He said the comments get to him sometimes. That's why they do need moderators, Sharice. Why don't they have moderators? I don't know why they don't have moderators. They should. You would think that after all the stuff said over the years, they would have had them for years already. Right. I don't understand why they don't have moderators. I was floored when I first got on Weverse in December and I found out they don't have moderators. I was like, what? Why don't y'all have moderators? But then again, it's K-pop. It's K-pop. Again, it floors me what goes on in the K-pop industry behind the scenes with their artists. That they don't protect their artists. That they don't have independent PR people protecting the artists. I write a whole fan fiction about a PR person that does, I do more in my fan fiction than these damn companies do for their artists. After writing about PR, and I've worked in PR, I am amazed. I've worked in media and marketing and PR before. I'm amazed what these agencies don't do for their artists. Like, I'll be asking questions to the people I know in the industry. I was like, so does your agency do this and this and this? They like, what are you talking about? I'm like, y'all don't have like a PR executive? Y'all don't have like a crisis team? Y'all don't have a crisis team? Y'all have a PR firm that is talking about like their image and what posts they make on social media, but y'all don't have a crisis team? What is this? What kind of operation is this? Well, we have a legal team. Not a legal team, a PR team. Like, y'all don't have like a crisis management. Y'all don't have people. They have people that do monitor their social media and monitor what's going on, but not to the extent that I would think of. I would think that these companies would have independent PR firms, like heavy hitter PR firms, like people that get on the internet and research and pull keywords and listen to online chatter and start stamping out things left or right. I'm just amazed that a lot of these entertainment companies don't have this. They don't invest their money into protecting their artists legally, mentally, and emotionally. Like when it comes to stuff online. I hope RM don't read the comments and get, yeah, RM is a totally different person. Yes, he needs somebody to stimulate his mind, body, and soul. Deidre, perfect. That's exactly what I mean. He needs an all-arounder. And again, from personal experience, for somebody who's been single for 3 years now, I've been single 3 years. I can tell you that's hard to find. It's very hard to find. I want somebody who's going to stimulate me physically, emotionally, and mentally. And I've like kind of like given up hope that it's ever going to happen. Like, I've given up hope. I was like, well, I guess it's not happening. But then again, with my life, I take solace in I've had relationships. I've had serious relationships. I've been married. I have kids. So I feel like I've lived my life. But I couldn't imagine, by the time I was 31 years old, I had had relationships. I was in a relationship when I was 31 years old. I could not imagine when I was 31. Hell, I was with my late husband when I was 31. So I couldn't even imagine being 31 and not having a real meaningful relationship, or maybe not having relationships that's lasted that long. By the time 31 came, me and my late husband, we were together. We were I mean, we were together. So I couldn't imagine like being 31 and being single. And, like I said, I suspect, just my opinion, that he's maybe not have had a significant, deep emotional tie with somebody. And and like I said, God knows how long it's been since he's been single. It's been 3 years for me. And like I said, I think about it, but I just don't want anyone to gloss over what RM said and try to downplay it, like he's gonna be fine, he's gonna be okay, because we, at the end of the day, we just don't know. And so, I tell people this world got a lot of ugliness in it. And 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 a lot of things are going on worldwide, that is just sucks. And so, when RM said what he said, it teared me up a little bit, because I'm like, this is obviously, to me, a person that's hurting. This is obvious to me, a person that is lonely and probably feels trapped by everything, all the access, all the money, all everything that he could have on the planet, but it's still, at the end of the day, he doesn't have someone to love him and to make him feel special on a personal, uh intimate level. And that is something that, like I said, a lot of people are going through in and outside the industry, not even chaotic, but just regular people out there suffering with the same thing. And so I hope RM find, I hope all of BTS find what they're looking for. I hope RM finds the most wonderfulest person that will love him and be with him for him, and not trying to use him, and they can grow with each other and love each other and have babies, and then do all the things. You know, yes, it got worse for him in the military. The things that he said about the military struck me very hard. It struck me very hard. Like when he was talking about the military, and RM was just honest. He was just very straightforward. RM said he was having a hard time sleeping. He said he was drinking too much. He said he was taking sleeping pills. Like all of that had me like this. I was watching that Weverse, and I'm like, what? I was shocked that he said that about the military. And I'm sure he caught hell for that too behind the scene. I promise you, he caught hell because of the military thing. Usually, Korean men are not that candid about their military service, unless you ask them privately and you know them and you get them. But I'm sure he caught hell because of that. I'm almost certain he did, because of the things he said about the military. But he just didn't fit in there. It's just the military is not cut for everybody, especially somebody who's older. I said that when he came out and said that in my live stream. Some of y'all might have been there. And I said that he's older. When you're 18, 19, 20 years old, your mind is more flexible and malleable. But you going into the military when you're 28 years old, 29 years old, you on a whole new level. You didn't tour the world, you didn't did all these things. You have agency about yourself, the older, and then the idea you get into the military and you have people younger than you telling you what to do and what to think and when to go to bed. And RM just, you know, like some of the things he was saying in the military, he felt like a failure. He felt like, why can't I get this right? I'm used to getting everything right. Like, why can't I do this? Like, there's certain things he was just real frustrated with, because he felt like he was older, intelligent. Like, why can't I? But it ain't about that in the military. Military is about following orders and repetition. And that's just not good for certain people, Deidre said she want her best friend. I want my best friend too. I'm surprised it didn't get shut off either, Ice Queen. I was watching that Weverse when you talk about the military. I'm like, my eyes got real big. I was like, we talking about the Korean military? Baby, they tell you when you get out the military, don't be talking about the military like that. It's a big no-no to be criticizing the military in South Korea. It is a big no because they're still in an active, I mean, it's a truce, but they're still in an active war situation. So it is a big no-no for anybody to publicly, especially to be dragging the Korean military. And he wasn't dragging the military per se, but he was just being honest about his experience. And that is definitely something that's not encouraged. So I hope that RM, is okay. I just hope, and then like I said, I just think back, like, how long has RM been bothered? Did this start before the military? Was the military the catalyst of this? Did he started feeling lonely and started feeling depressed and nervous and lacking? Did all these feelings come on since he's been out the military or while he was in the military and they just continued on? Or was this before? Was he going through some things? Maybe he was going through some things before. I don't know. Y'all been around longer than I have. So maybe he's just been going through some things for a long time. And there's a lot of pressure on them. It's a lot of pressure on BTS. Like I said, I'm doing my 20-minute video and I'm going to talk about, there's a lot of pressure on BTS for them to pretty much uplift the whole industry, and especially doing this album and all the things that they have to do. When I see RM and I see his eyes, I just see like a sense of loneliness, sadness, lostness. When I look in his eyes, I just see like just a sense of just like unassured. He doesn't have really that steel reserve. When I look at Kim Tae-young and I watch his Weverses and his lives, and I turn the volume down, Kim Tae-young has a look in his face of determination, of like assuredness that I've never seen before. Kim Tae-young has a sense of, like I said to y'all, a sense of determination and just a sense of himself. You go back and look at them old videos of Kim Tae-young and you watch them old Weverses, his whole body language and the way he talks and the way he acts is very, very striking. The way he talks now is much more agency, much more confidence in himself, much more assuredness. The way Kim Tae-young has gotten since he got in the military, he's definitely changed, for the better. There's much more of just a look in his eyes that is a strength that I didn't see before, And so I don't. You think he's been feeling this way? And I know he had a burden of being the BTS leader and translating and all that. Hell, he was having problems in 2019. You can see it in his face. Okay, well, he may have been having problems for a while. That's even more disturbing. So, like I said, I hope Kim Tae-young get help. I hope he find what he's looking for. Captain in Special Forces was tremendous help. Oh, okay. And I just hope that he found what he's looking for. And I tell RM, if I could tell him, like, we on this journey together. Like, if it never happens, if he, he may never find anybody. Life is not guaranteed to anybody, even though people try to tell you and they try to sugarcoat, be like, because I have friends tell me, "Oh, Kiki, you'll find somebody. Just take your time." And it's been 3 years. I'm just like, okay, I'm kind of giving up. Like, okay, it's not something that I'm, you know, expecting now. It's just kind of like, if it happens, it does. If it don't, it don't. That's kind of like my attitude in my old age as I've gotten older. I feel like if it does happen, it does. If it don't, it don't. If it happens, great. But I'm not holding out any hope that it will happen. I don't think a man is just gonna fall from the sky or get delivered like Amazon, and he's just gonna fall from the sky, blam, land on top of me, or somebody's gonna be at the door, and I'm open the door, and he's like, "Hey, I'm your man. I'm here." Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think I would have to put a lot of effort into it, and like I said with RM, maybe he just don't want to put in, you know, maybe he just don't want to. Maybe he doesn't have the confidence. Maybe he's struggling with his confidence, and maybe he don't have the time or the energy to put in a lot of effort. It takes effort to find somebody. It takes effort to have a relationship. It takes effort to keep up a relationship. He has a very busy lifestyle that you may have to be away from the person that you liked. You have to be away from that person from long extent. They may get lonely. You may be afraid that they're going to cheat on you. They may not trust you because you're away a lot. They may be like, "I don't know what you're doing out there, RM. Who you talking to, RM?" There's trust issues because he's a famous guy. He's a good looking, rich guy. So chicks are going to be like, "Well, dang, you going to be gone on tour. I don't know what you finna be on tour. I don't know where you, even when they're not on tour. You may be like, you going to be at this party and I can't be there. We got to keep our relationship secret." So that's part of it as well. Whatever relationship you get into is going to have to be kept hidden and kept secret. And there are certain places you're not going to be able to show up and go with your loved one. And um, so that's hard too. So it's hard to find someone who's down for you. And then once you do find somebody that you relate and you like, then keeping that person. Like making sure that person's needs are met and your needs are met. And it's not just about, I don't want to be lonely, so I'm gonna keep you around like you a damn pet. Like delivering Kim Nam June, baby. I wish. But yeah, you don't want a pet. You want a person. You don't want somebody who feels like they neglected. And then they gonna start looking maybe, in other places for somebody else because they're lonely. And I can imagine that you have to find the right person who understands your lifestyle, respects it, not just understands it, but respects it. So I just, I hope he finds, what he's looking for and all of life. And so, I did a couple videos. Y'all go back and watch those videos, but I just don't like my point is I don't want anybody to try to sweep what Namju said under the rug or try to downplay it like it was no big deal. To me, it was a very big deal to me for a Korean man, an idol who's part of the biggest group on the planet, to be up here admitting on a Weverse live to fans that he feels lonely and he feels nervous and lacking and his feelings get hurt and he reads things and and that he feels like his feelings shouldn't get hurt, but they do. And for somebody to admit that, it's very brave, but I just hope that he gets, some help and understands that, of course, as the fans, we're always going to be here to listen. But I think he should be seriously talking to a professional and talking to his family and friends. That's his other source. And maybe he has been. Maybe he has a professional. Maybe he's been talking to his family and friends. But I just have a feeling that he just, in my opinion, I may be wrong. I just feel like he hasn't. I feel like maybe he hasn't really been candid, or maybe he has, and maybe he didn't like their reaction. Maybe they just was like, "Oh, you're rich, you're famous. What do you got to worry about? Stop complaining." Maybe they had that attitude. I could see Asian parents having that attitude, to be honest with you. Like, you have everything you want. What are you complaining for? So his friends and family may have had that type of attitude. But, I just hope that he finds whoever that he's looking for. Deidre said you can hear his issues in a lot of his lyrics, so I can't understand why people just swept his feelings. I didn't understand why people swept his feelings under the rug. I can't imagine how hard it is to be for him to find someone he can trust. Yes, all K-pop singers, it's hard for somebody to find that they can trust, but especially being BTS. You're the biggest thing ever in South Korea. And so you got to find somebody that's not going to try to put your business out on TikTok. Jimin, put your business out there on TikTok. Like the situation with Jimin and Song Dwon. And then if one chick put your business out there, then these other chicks gonna start trying to hit you up for money and start coming for you. I'm just saying it could happen. Hypothetically. I'm just saying. Y'all didn't hear that from me, but I'm just saying that when there's blood in the water, there's blood in the water. That when people start trying to manipulate you and blackmail you, other people come forward and start doing the same thing. I told y'all this. I said, so that's a floodgate you don't want to open. So it's hard to find someone to trust. He could just be wanting people to know he isn't perfect and isn't always rosy, especially at the top. Oh yeah, he was definitely doing it. Yeah, that situation for Jimin is crazy, Alibi. That situation is crazy. And like I said, these are why K-pop singers are hard pressed to get in any kind of dating situation with anybody, because you don't really know if you can trust that person. She said question mark. I'm just saying. Just saying. I tell y'all before, there's a lot of blackmail in South Korea. There's a lot of blackmail in South Korea. Like in Asia, period. But when we talk about South Korea, there's been a lot of high profile cases in the past 2 years of idols, influencers being blackmailed by people in various situations. And not necessarily people that they've dated. They've been blackmailed by people that they talked to, people they thought they were friends, people online that blackmail people, and they pay people hundreds and thousands of dollars. I told you that member that the highest profile one is that member, yes, Ice Queen, TVXQ, that famous K-pop group, TVXQ, that second generation group. There's a member who used to be part of TVXQ, and he's on stage, and he's supposed to be starring as Aladdin in Aladdin, like on Broadway in Korea. They have Aladdin, and he was a member of TVXQ. He had been blackmailed for 4.5 years by some chick that he met on Facebook during the pandemic. So I don't know why this man was on Facebook. I guess these chicks were sliding in his DMs. I look, listen, I don't know. But apparently some chick slid in his DMs and he started talking to her. And I don't know what was said, but this chick blackmailed him saying that she was going to release. Yes, yes, yes. They went to court 2 months ago. This chick for 4.5 years blackmailed him out of hundreds and thousands of dollars. That he talked to, he met her through Facebook. I think it was Facebook or Instagram. They started messaging each other back and forth. And I don't know what was said in this message, but after a while, after a couple of months, this chick lied to him saying that she was a nail technician or whatever, but she was an influencer. It's really not quite sure what this chick did. But apparently she slid in his DMs or he slid into hers, but they started talking. They started messaging back and forth, and I don't know what was said, but apparently she threatened to release these messages and it would have ruined his career. So he started to pay her. So over 4.5 years, this chick was blackmailing him. And then eventually he ended up taking her to court last year and she went to jail. I think it was in June of this year, she went to jail. June or July, she went to jail in South Korea. She was found guilty. Because and they never released the messages. I don't know what he was talking about this lady in these messages about. But apparently it had to be something. For him to be paying for blackmail, it had to be something in these messages. But the messages will never get released. But yeah, she threatened him. And then eventually he called the police and filed charges last year. And the messages never got released. And we don't know what was in the message. But she blackmailed him for 4.5 years. All during the pandemic. Yeah, that is crazy. Hi, cows are dumb. Yeah, that is crazy. You know, a member of TXT had to explain a video of him with a female friend. He helped home. He helped home because she was drunk. Oh, really? When was this, Katina? When was this? He talking about he had to help a female friend home. Child, which member of T? Which one of my boys recently? So somebody took a video of him helping a female friend because she was drunk. Baby, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Oh, there's a video? I have to see which member it was. Oh, it was Kai? No, not Kai. Not my nephew Kai. Oh, nephew. I doubt it was a female friend. He was helping her because she drunk. Child, I doubt it was a female friend. But anyway, but that's my BTS talk. Yeah, they even was harassing his sister and trying to call. Oh yeah, I remember that. People, I don't know why people were saying that about what. I don't know why they were saying about that about him and his sister. Him and his sister are so cute. They look just alike. I'm like, that's just weird. People were saying that about him and his sister. I'm like, they every video I've seen them, they're like brother and sister. They do look a lot alike though. They both cute though. Don't be doing my little niecey poo and nephew like that. They were on the streets and she was falling down. And he had to keep her up because they weird. Yeah, I was like, I gotta see this video of Kai with this girl. Talking about she was falling down. He had to keep her up. That is weird. To accuse somebody is disgusting. But that's weird. But anyway, that's my BTS talk. So let's get on to HYBE. So HYBE has expanded their reach. HYBE has something called a label service. Now, a label service is when a company has the ability to buy smaller distributors. So HYBE, I'm assuming that they want to get into the music distribution service like Geffen Records or Warner. So HYBE, yes, they recently announced this that they, so a label service is able to buy like digital independent labels. That's how these record labels, by the way, make a lot of their money. They buy rights to digital artists, they buy rights to indie artists, and they distribute their music. So they don't compose, they don't write the music, they don't do the day-to-day. They just have the rights to it, and they buy like ad revenue, They put the music in different markets and stuff like that. That's how a lot of these companies make a lot of their money, because it's not a lot of overhead, but they get a certain percentage of sales. So they get money and revenue for sales, but they don't have to worry about producing and promoting and doing all this other stuff. So they basically focus on advertising, focus on marketing, getting the music out there, physical sales, like physical CDs or whatever, and sales, and they focus, and then they get a back end, a portion of that money. So HYBE is going to start doing that. So and again, these label service is something that these record industries have done, I don't even know, a long time. But especially now with the advent of digital artists and digital sales. So they won't be doing any touring for the artists, you know. That yeah. Yeah, they can, yes, and they can distribute their own music and also buy up other, and also distribute music for other artists, especially indie artists and digital artists, like Spotify artists and stuff like that. Instead of using an outside company. Yes, instead of using an outside company, because they have to pay that outside company. I doubt, yes, I doubt it was a female friend. I don't think it was a female friend. I think it was probably some girl he was probably with. HYBE, yes, that's my next thing on the list. Look, I got my list here. HYBE has HYBE Latin America, of course, opened up last year, and they had this big reality show. If you guys have not watched it, I have watched it because I'm excited about anything that's something new. But they had this like reality, like K-pop reality show. HYBE did, and so I'm looking it up. But yes, they HYBE Latin America. They have a let's see. They had a TV show called Bravia. I think that's the name of it. It used to come up. HYBE America, HYBE Geffen, HYBE Latin America. They have a new video that came up yesterday called Session Bravia. Um, and so they have this boy group. Yes, this boy group, and they are young and cute, and they look like little babies. So I'm just gonna leave it there. But they're attractive young men. Yeah, Brava, Session Bravas is the show, and they have like different episodes on HYBE Latin America, and underneath their YouTube channel, and so you can watch. And so HYBE is really trying to break into the Latin American market. Again, I have to emphasize the Latin American music market is a heavy hitter. Besides Japan, like if you're talking about like not just K-pop but music period, there's the Japanese market. American market, of course, is number one. There's the Japanese market, there's South Korea, and then there's Latin America. So Latin American market is easily the fourth biggest music market. So that's so these little boys, I say little boys lightly. I'm not trying to be, it's a pleasure. Thank you, Cherise. Thank you. Is it still K-pop? No, it is not K-pop. It is considered a Latin American boy group. It's not considered K-pop at all. So it's not K-pop. No. They consider themselves a Latin American boy group. And these are I've listened to them sing. They are very talented, and hopefully, everything will be good. Thank you, Sharice. Thank you, everybody else. So I'm happy. What about Europe? Nothing about Europe. Oh, Europe is up there too. Europe is up there. Europe is up there. So I think it's America, Japan. I'm surprised how big Japan is. Japan, it's America, Europe, Japan, like South Korea, Japan, and then Latin America. Like I think that's how it goes. And I'm looking at these dudes right now, and like I said, I think they're I'm trying to see how many members there are. I think there's one, two, three, there's a five member. I think there's five of them. Five of them. And they can sing. HYBE is not considered a K-pop company. HYBE is trying to be a multi-level media conglomerate. That's what HYBE has considered themselves to be a multimedia company. HYBE, I talked about last week that HYBE owns a gaming division. Yes, they have a gaming division that they just bought for like $100 million from another company. Or is worth $100 million. They have a gaming division. Now they have the distribution, the label service, where they're providing distribution for indie and digital artists. They have HYBE America, which is they own the Scooter Braun portfolio, Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber. Then they have regular HYBE in South Korea. They have HYBE Latin America. And the next thing HYBE is doing is HYBE India. That's the next thing. I am so excited about HYBE in India. Y'all don't even know. HYBE India, there are so many K-pop fans in India. I've asked over and over again when K-pop started because I didn't realize how big the market was. Like Army Brazil and Indian Army are huge. Like between K Army and armies in America, armies in Latin America, like especially in Brazil, is huge. And then armies in India are huge. K-pop is huge in India. And so I kept asking years ago, I was like, why don't they have like a pop group from India? Because shit, I was like, man, it's really K-pop is really popular in India. And so HYBE is like, they come and HYBE is like, we coming, we coming to India. So HYBE is gonna open up a division in India. HYBE wants to be up there with like Sony Music and Warner Music and Universal and Geffen. They want to be up there with the heavy hitters. Oh, 17 members? Oh, wait, hold on. I'm only seeing like 5 of them. I'm trying to think. The picture that I saw, there was a bunch of them too, but I don't know if that was the reality show. Because the episode that I'm looking at, there's only like 5 of them on stage, but let me go back and look. But anyway, I'll take a look at it because they've had some special guest stars. But yeah, they were like in a reality type show kind of thing where there was, I think it started out like 24 of them and then they narrowed it down. So yeah, the picture that I saw that too, Deidre. um, yeah, HYBE wants to have K-pop to be its own division of HYBE. But as a company, HYBE wants to be the super media thing. They want to be a regular international media company like Sony. Like Sony has games, Sony has music, Sony has distribution, Sony does TV shows. Like HYBE, and then like I told y'all 2 weeks ago about HYBE producing that K-pop movie. They're producing in conjunction with Warner that K-pop movie that they're about to start filming in South Korea. And so that's another thing. They are starting to get into maybe the television and the movie industry as well. Um, they're going to replace Bollywood. I don't think they will replace Bollywood. Yeah, HYBE wants to be all things to all things. Now, some people think that they're doing it too fast, but they're coming. But they coming. What else about HYBE? Okay, since we on HYBE, we didn't talk about TXT. Child, I gotta go look. So the other thing, HYBE sold. I don't know if I brought up last week that HYBE sold SM shares. So HYBE owned shares in SM Music, the SM company. They sold those shares. As to why they sold those shares, I couldn't tell you, but they sold the shares. Also, we need to talk about Cordis. Have you guys been paying attention to Cordis? I know that I subscribe to Cordis on YouTube. If you don't know who Cordis is a new group from HYBE. It's their first boy group in 6 years since TXT. And yeah, and so Cordis have been on the international charts, like the Billboard charts, and they also been on the Korean charts. Y'all know I watch Kville. If you don't watch Kville, you're missing out because Kville tells you what's on the charts. And so Cordis, I think all of their songs are charted on the. I just watched the charts the other day, and I believe that all of their songs are on there. You love Cordis? Yeah, they're like my sons. Cordis is like my kids. Cordis, I told my kids, I said, you guys have 5 like brothers now. And they were like, who? I was like, Cordis. I said, meet your 5 brothers. They were like, no. My son's like, because they're like the same age as, well, they're a little bit older. Well, I don't know. The youngest one, he's pretty young. 'Cause my son, he's 15. My oldest is 15. So Cordis, if you have not watched the documentary, it's there. Everybody loves Cordis. Yeah, they are. They are. I watched their documentary. They are going up in the rank in powerful brands. Their brand, they have like a brand index, and Cordis has just shot up in all of the brand index things. They are being touted as like the one of the biggest things in 5th generation because we still in 5th generation. I thought we were in 6th, but apparently we still in 5th, y'all. I guess next year will be 6th generation. HYBE wants to strike while the iron is hot. The youngest is 16. Okay, well there you go. Cordis is in LA. Yeah, they were making, yeah, they were, I watched their documentary about them filming their videos. And Cordis is just, I like their music. It's catchy for this kind of generation. Um, my daughter went to a dance and they were playing Cat's Eye and they were playing Cordis. And at the hatred of my daughter who hates K-pop, but they were playing Cat's Eye, they were playing Cordis, they were playing Illit. I said I said the DJ, he must be a HYBE fan because he was playing all the HYBEs. And my daughter went to this dance, her first dance, and she's in middle school, and yeah, they were up there playing gnarly, and then like my little cousin, she knows the song. She knows go, 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 watch me go, go. Like I don't know how these kids know these songs, but I guess maybe they're on TikTok or whatever. But I like in other words, kids who don't even like K-pop, they hear these songs and they know gnarly. They're like gnarly, like everybody knows gnarly. I was like, and I told them before that the song was gonna be big. Um, yeah, talk about they're young and yeah, they're very cute. Cordis, I no, it will never be my daughter hates K-pop. My daughter hates, she don't like Cordis. She don't like, her friends like K-pop. I told y'all the story that like my daughter, she goes to birthday parties and like her little friends are like, your mom is so cool. Like they all love me. Cause they're like, but your mom listens to K-pop and she has a K-pop channel. They're like, your mom's so cool. Your mom knows all, like they'll sing a song and then I'll be like, oh, I know that song. Da, da, da. And then my daughter be like, I don't know. Because my daughter doesn't listen to it at all. She's never listened to pop music. My son does not listen to pop music. They've never listened to pop. And that's because of me, because I'm not into pop music. K-pop is the only pop music that I listen to. So my kids listen to a lot of indie bands, like a lot of indie rock, indie or old school stuff, like Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles, the Sex Pistols, like stuff like that. My kids like a lot of Prince and Michael Jackson, like they like old school stuff. They gonna listen to something. So, but all their friends like K-pop, especially my daughter. All her little friends, they love K-pop. Demon Hunters, they can sing all the. I can sing all the K-pop demon. So to my daughter's friends, I'm the cool mom. But to her, she hates it because she's like, I hate K-pop. And then they be like, where your mom at? They be like, my mom's at a K-pop concert, and they're like, oh my God, your mom goes to K-pop concerts. They're like, and you don't go? She's always invited to go, but she don't go though, because she's like, I hate K-pop. And so all my daughter's friends think she's insane because they're like, your mom goes to K-pop concerts. Do you know we would kill to have our mother go to a K-pop concert? And then like my kids be like, Mama, and then next month, y'all, I'm going to a K-pop convention. And all their little friends are like, can we have your mother? Can you trade? No, my kids have never liked K-pop. I just got into K-pop since 2022. So K-pop is new for me. I wasn't I didn't grow up listening to K-pop all their lives or nothing. So the music that my kids like is the music that I like as well. Cause I'm much more of an indie person. You know, my kids, they grew up listening to the Smiths and Motown and yeah, they grew up listening to a lot of like funkadelic music. My kid, like my taste in music is very eclectic. So they just listen to indie bands. Cause that's what when they was little, that's what I would play, like a really off the wall. Like we never listened to pop music. We don't listen to a lot of like modern rap music. If I'm listening to rap music, it's a lot of times it's old school things around them because they were little. So I didn't want them to listen to like a bunch of lyrics with a bunch of raunchy stuff. So I would play like a lot of old school stuff and it just rubbed off on them. I got on the K-pop because of my sister-in-law in 2022. And then about 2023 came, I was really into K-pop then. 2024, I was Army. So for them, this is all new. They're like, we want our mother back. They're like, you used to never listen to this music. Like, why? So to them, it's just an annoying a nuisance. But I tell you one thing, I told y'all before, if TOP would come on tour, my daughter would go. She's that heavily invested in Thanos. She thinks she's the only one that she thinks he's cool. All the rest of them, no, no, no. She's like, oh, is that Thanos? I was like, that's Thanos. She's like, oh, okay. well, yeah, that's fine, carry on. But everybody else, she like, But T.O.P. do something, she like, who's that T.O.P.? I'm like, so yes, and her friends, they love T.O.P. So even the ones that don't like K-pop. So that's the only person I could probably. I've been trying to drag my kids to a K-pop concert since 2022. I've been trying to get them to come, and they don't want to go. But Cordis, yes, Cordis is what the little kids is listening to, y'all. That's what they like. So y'all support Cordis. Let's see what else. So we're gonna talk about the shakedown now. If y'all don't know, Bon PD, who is the chairman of HYBE, which has a bunch of subsidiaries, including, Big Hit, which manages BTS, Cordis, TXT, Le Seraphim, all the other ones, TWS, The Boy Next Door, a bunch of other groups. So Bon PD has been in trouble for the past, how long has it been? 4 or 5 months now with this IPO thing. I've done videos, I've talked about it in live streams about Bon PD and his IPO. His company was once a privately held company with investors, and they decided to go public in 2019. They did some things. They set up to go public. To public means they get to be traded. They get a stock, and they get to be traded on the Korean stock exchange. And so what is happening now is that the Korean government has a division, which is like the SEC, for like stocks, and they're investigating Bang PD for fraud. They're saying that when he went public, he did things that he shouldn't have done, that he made a bunch of money, they defrauded investors, yada yada yada. They questioned Bang PD 2 weeks ago for almost 14 hours. Last week we talking about they said your boy was a flight risk. They said he can't leave the country. They didn't him Bang PD up like he a murderer. Okay, so they said that he can't fly, he can't leave the country. I was like, where he gonna go? But okay, I like, is he gonna take off and run? I mean, but they said he can't flee, he can't leave the country. So be it. So this has been going on and on and on. There's conspiracy theories and all kinds of theories as to why this is going on. I told y'all months ago when this first popped off that the South Korean government is trying to hem up K-pop. So in June, the South Korean president came out saying that he has this huge plan to revitalize the entertainment, the cultural industry. So when they say cultural industry, we're talking about K-pop, we're talking about sports, we're talking about acting and movies and TV like K-dramas. We're talking about the K-beauty as well, and we're talking about also the tech industry. So this new president, he got elected the beginning of this year. He started this commission for K-pop. So Daddy JYP is the head of JYP Entertainment. Stray Kids belong to JYP. I call him Opa Daddy JYP, which is my dude, because y'all know I have a low key crush on JYP. And so JYP is the head of this committee, and they also have representatives for each one of the bigger K-pop companies. So SM, YG, HYBE, they have representatives. And so they're starting this commission or committee or whatever. And as to what this commission or committee gonna do, I don't really know. But hey, the South Korean president says he's going to get rid of the tax subsidies for the big K-pop companies and start helping out the smaller ones. He says that he's going to, look at the contract situation. He's going to build more arenas because Korea doesn't have really big, huge stadiums like other countries do. So he's going to help either revitalize these arenas, like rebuild them, or just build new ones altogether. So expand, make them bigger, because they don't have a lot of venues, of really nice, big, huge venues in South Korea. And then he says he's going to do a bunch of other stuff. So they had a whole plan, and we talked about this like back in July about what the South Korean president kind of was going to do. My opinion was back then that some of this sounds nice, but I said I felt like the IPO thing and now the president's plan, I felt like this was a shakedown. I said I feel like these companies are trying to get Bang PD to bend the knee because he's expanding operations outside of South Korea. And I said I felt like this was a shakedown. Well, and they wanted to humble Bang PD by hemming him up and embarrassing him and investigating him. I said I don't think Bang PD is going to go to jail. I can say that. I don't think anything's going to happen. He may get a fine and a slap on the wrist, but I felt like South Korea wanted something from K-pop. And I said, all these other companies should be afraid, because if they want something, because you start at the top. And I felt like if South Korea feel like they can take down Bong PD and him up on some shit, that the other ones are gonna all fall in line. They're all gonna be scared. They're all gonna be like, well, if they got HYBE, they can we next. So coming out in this news that the National Museum of Korea, which is a huge museum, has millions of visitors a year, has announced that they have some kind of partnership. Hello, Moonlight. Hello. What's up? BTS income from SK. Yes, Ice Queen. So I knew it. So I saw this story and I was like, I cocked an eyebrow. The National Museum of Korea has partnership with HYBE to for a cultural experience at the National Museum. They partner together. And then they put a picture on the website of Bong PD with the National Museum's president. And then eventually they had to take that picture down. Child, they put that picture up there of Bong PD and the museum's president. And they had to take down the damn picture because so many people in the comment section was saying the most awfulest negative shit about Bong PD in the comments, y'all. That this is what I'm telling y'all. I was laughing. Now, most of Korea, the average everyday regular schmegular person doesn't care about K-pop. K-pop is not it's big in Korea, but it's not like this thing that people try to make it out to be. Most regular people don't care about Bong PD. They know who he is. They don't feel no way. They may have an opinion, but it's not a level of vitriol like online. When you go online and you post something about Bong PD, baby, people will come for you. People will try to drag you for filth. So they had to take the picture down on the museum, the article, and on the website because people were saying nasty, horrible things. And I went back and looked at the screenshots, and people were saying really rude things about Bong PD, saying that they hope he go to jail, that he was fat, that his mama stank. Well, I'm just kidding about that part. But I'm just saying people was dragging Bong PD. Because, Bong PD in the K-pop circles, for some reason, people hate this man. And again, I didn't research and did a video about Bong PD and HYBE. Go watch it on my channel. But I do not understand why Bong PD gets so much hatred. And the only thing I can say is jealous. So Deidre said, here we go again. No, he can't catch a break. Moonlight says she been busy. You seen Jimin going through it, had me in a negative. I know you poor Jimin going through it. Yes, your mama stank comments. They was calling Bang PD. They was like, you fat MFer. I was like, Lord. I said, ooh, Korea. I have never seen anybody more polarizing online and in K-pop spaces than Bong PD. And I know it's them New Jeans bunnies. It's them. It's the Minhee Jin lovers. It's them. It's the BTS haters. It's them. It's other fandoms. It's them. And then there's some people that don't like Bong PD, period, because look, at this point, when I see articles about Bong PD or they post anything about him and he gets a lot of hate in the comments, it's to the point where I think that people have paid companies, because sometimes you'll see the same comments over and over and over again from different usernames. So I think some of this is bots. Some of this is a setup. Moonlight says she came here for the last. Well, that's what we're here for. So I think some of this is a setup. I think some of this is black propaganda. I think there are paid PR firms by whoever. Pick your poison. You want to pick Minhee Jin? Ding ding, winner chicken dinner. Kakao don't like Bang PD. The bunnies don't like him. The BTS haters sure in the hell don't like him. The jealous, the other companies will say may have paid PR firm. So you got about 10 different entities that may or may not like. I don't know, Bong PD probably got some exes out there that probably think he ain't shit. Whatever. It's just whoever. Like Bong PD got so many enemies right now. Like like I said, it could be anybody. You can pick one of these 10 entities or all of them that will go in comment sections and they will just sit there and just be going in. They're like, you fat. The shaman. The shaman is on there too. The shaman up there talking about, yeah, you ain't shit. I mean, all of it. It don't matter who you want to pick. It could be either one of all of them. So they had to take down the pictures, child. They had to delete the pictures because it was getting embarrassing. Like all these comments, back-to-back comments talking bad about this man. I don't even know how Bong PD can get out of bed in the morning. I really don't know. But however he gets out of bed in the morning, hats off to you, sir, because I don't know how you do it. Because I feel like sometimes he is the most hatedest man in Korea, or at least in the K-pop industry. They don't hate none of these CEOs, executives like they be hating on Bong PD. It is, and I heard from people that this has gone on for years and years now. Like people are like, oh, this has gone on for years. I was like, I thought this was just like in a recent thing. People are like, oh no, this has gone on for years. What you mean it's not? And then Bong PD, child, he was supposed to go speak at some kind of business luncheon dinner thing. Girl, he had to cancel that, girl. I was clutching the pearls, child. I was over here. I was shook. Yes, Bong PD was supposed to speak at some kind of business dinner or some child, and he had to cancel it, girl. He had to be like, no, I ain't coming. He had to cancel it, girl. You got behind BTS behind you. It's not hard to get up. I guess so, girl. I guess I wouldn't feel bad about it. No way either, Ice Queen. But I just be like, can y'all give it a break? And then people tell me, I hope he go to jail. He a criminal. He a fraudster. I was like, damn. I'm like, really? Y'all going in like this? I'm like, y'all don't think this man didn't hurt somebody, didn't murder the child or something. Yeah, because he's an underdog and he has made it worldwide. Yes, yeah, they hate because he don't come from one of these Chabo families, and they hate that he out there making Chabo money, and they mad at him because he hobnobs in these circles with these with these really uber rich people. I told y'all before that the uber rich, the Chabos, like the Samsungs and the LGs and these people, they don't like Bong PD. They don't like people who come from humble origins and be up there acting like he is good as them. So I said part of it is that the business class and the business people, in my opinion, I can't prove this. The business people, to me, I feel like some way that some people are undermining him in the business industry. I feel like that he has stepped on, I feel like Bong PD has stepped on people's toes professionally and maybe privately. And some people have been coming from him that way. But I do believe that the South Korean government. So let me add about the national museums. So they partnership with HYBE. And of course, when you partnership with HYBE, you mean they're artists. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's nice. And they're going to do exhibits and stuff like that. And I was reading the article. I said, that's cool. They're going to do exhibits and stuff. And it's a way to bring, and once you start putting up advertisements, and I'm thinking maybe some of the HYBE artists are going to do like campaigns or ads or commercials or something about coming to the National Museum, because that's free advertisement for them. They were saying that the last time the HYBE has partnered with the National Museum before, and that RM had mentioned the National Museum, and they noticed, like this is 2.5 years ago, there was an influx of traffic to their museum. So I'm like, okay, I see what this is. So then that was fine enough. Then they talk about what they on Weverse, you can buy some, they might be sold out. But BTS had like the National Museum, they have like these like simulations of like teacups and simulations of all different things, simulation of ancient Korean artifacts, but they had like BTS logos on it. And they sold for like a huge sum of money. I think $100 and something. And you can buy it on Weverse, and it's in partnership with the National Museum. And of course, the National Museum gets their cut of this. And I said, oh, okay, now I see where this is going. I said, here we go. Just like I said, and I put on my video, is Korea extorting K-pop? This, in my opinion, this is what this looks like to me. Is this what this look like to y'all? I said travel, national monuments, festivals, cultural festivals. They're going to have cultural festivals sponsored by certain cities or provinces. And then you're going to have your local you're going to have a K-pop star there. Come to this Chuseok festival. And then this K-pop singer. They had Hangul Day. So October the 9th was Hangul Day. And then they had Jennie from Blackpink up there. I was like, oh, okay. Then APEC. I was gonna get into it later on APEC, which is the huge like thing where all the world leaders come and meet. It's gonna be in South Korea. So they had commercials with G Dragon on there, and they had the president. They had this cute little commercial. Go watch it online. And G Dragon was looking good, honey, baby. G Dragon was looking good. And I don't find G Dragon attractive. But I admitted in this APEC commercial, G Dragon could get it, honey. He could get it all day in this commercial. He was looking good. So they have like APEC is coming. So they had these K-pop singers and these K-drama actors welcoming people to, on these commercials and these billboards about APEC. And I was like, okay, so this is what this is. So Bong PD partnership with the National Museum is a little suspicious to me. I don't know how long this has been into the works, but that's why Sugar V well gets it too. So yeah, keychains. They have little teacups. They have a whole tea set that sells for like $200 and has BTS logos on it. So they're gonna have a bunch of stuff at this museum that's gonna have like BTS. I'm a logo. BTS logo is one of the most recognized logos in South Korea. So they're gonna have like things that are gonna be tied in with HYBE stars and singers, items to be sold from the museum, and the museum is going to get part of money. And of course, if you put up an exhibit sponsored by RM or V or whoever, that's going to bring traffic into the museum. So it's a win-win for the museum. And then they, and I said, this is what this is. They are trying to get K-pop and use K-pop artists and these companies as a way to build up their cultural businesses. And that in turn brings revenue into South Korea. And I understand what they're doing, and I understand why. Now, everybody y'all know more than I do about that Busan concert, because armies go crazy about that Busan concert. Y'all be in y'all damn feelings about that Busan concert. That's one of the first things I heard about. I saw the Busan concert, and I was like, ooh, Jesus, Lord have mercy. I was like, my bias was looking good in that Busan concert, baby. Who ain't God good? God is good every day, all the time. Anyway, I was like, Lord have mercy. I was like, I was delivered. The Busan concert delivered me. But then y'all bust my bubble because somebody came on my live stream a year ago and was like, wait a minute, hold up, bitch. And I was like, what? They were like, the Busan concert, yeah, it was good, but it wasn't good. And I was like, what? And so somebody told me to go look up the Busan concert. So I was like, okay, what happened? And I went and looked up the Busan concert, that HYBE had to pay for half of it, that the arena was janky, that it was unsafe, that it was some shenanigans and some bullshit that went on during the Busan concert. And everybody was mad. Everybody was like, girl, and I read this and I watched the whole video about the Busan, and I was like, and that basically the Korean government strong-armed BTS into giving a free concert. That's basically what the Busan concert, even though it was a great concert. But and HYBE had to foot the bill for it. So again, the things that are going on with this new president, I wouldn't be surprised if you would see more stuff like this. And the Bong PD and the National Museum, I said, this is just the first step. Because he is trying to get these IPO charges off of his ass. And he is willing to do anything, I would think, almost to get these charges off of HYBE and himself. And if that means he's got to dance, Bong PD, dance. Like, he's going to have to do. So don't be surprised if you see more things, more deals with certain museums and certain cultural events. And when BTS do come back, or TXT may have to go and do this particular charity event or this particular national historic event or something like that, they are going to try to use K-pop and K-pop singers and their popularity to boost the economy of South Korea. This is what this is about. And I told you a long time ago, I said the government they want more. They want K-pop to do more. They don't want them to take their money to other places. They want K-pop to do more. And I told y'all before, I post videos on my channel, on my post section and community section. I post videos all the time telling y'all that the South Korean economy is in a slump. We will talk about that in a minute. The South Korean economy is not doing well. It is stagnant. It is in a slump. Everybody's waiting for BTS to come back, because when BTS come back, it's going to stimulate the entire damn economy, because y'all know BTS brings in all kinds of billions of income to hotels, to restaurants, to clubs, to bars, to valet services, to people on the street, whatever. BTS brings all of it. Bon PD is only going to become richer BTS for the Super Bowl halftime in the future. I hope not. Hopefully, I'm wishful thinking, but yeah, I'm tired. The Korean government needs to suck it up. The Korean government is broke, so they are doing anything to try to save that. Do you remember the Boys and Girls Scout Camp thing where they expected BTS to perform in Korea? No, I don't know what you're talking about, Katina. It was a disaster because of where they had them staying. Oh, wait. No, I don't, Katina. I've never heard of that. I got to look that up. You said the boy and Girl Scout camp thing. They respect BTS. I got to look that up. I've never heard that. But again, y'all be telling me stuff all the time. But I'll be like, who, what? But yeah, the South Korean government economy is stagnant right now. So they are doing everything that they can to try to bolster. And this is what this is about. This IPO thing, I believe this is what this is about. This is a shakedown. This is trying to get K-pop to bend the knee, trying to get K-pop to provide travel advertising, to provide merchandise, whatever they can get a piece out of it to bolster their travel industry. And Korea is doing many other things to bolster their economy, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so also the Korean government they're thinking about next year abolishing their breach of trust laws. Now, the Korean breach of trust laws is stupid to me. It doesn't make any sense. And the breach of trust laws, and breach of trust is one of the reasons why Adore was suing Min Hee-jin. They saying that she breached of trust, that what she did was causing damage to the company. So what's breach of trust? Breach of trust is basically a lawsuit that a person or a company or an entity can bring upon another person, company, or entity, saying that what the person's actions or inactions caused the company to lose money. So let's just give you an example. Let's just say I'm an executive and I'm pulling the strings and I make a decision to drop $5 million, $10 million on this new venture. And I come up with the plan and everything, and then let's say the venture falls through and the company loses a whole bunch of money. The company could in turn take me to court and sue me for breach of trust. What the actions that I took as an executive, because the law is very vague, that saying that what I did in my decisions as executive caused the company harm and damage, monetary losses and stuff like that. It is something that you don't have to prove really that much, but they are supposed to try to change the breach of trust laws to where you have to prove that the company actually lost money and what they lost. And then also they're also talking about getting rid of the law, period. It is inconceivable to me that if I'm an executive or working for a company and I make the wrong decision, lose the company money, that I'm going to turn around and get sued. That attitude in South Korea is the reason why companies are afraid to do certain things in business. You know, they're risk averse. There's a reason why they keep executives around for a long time. There's a reason why executives just kind of fall in line. And there's another reason why there's corruption in a lot of these corporations, because people don't want to be sued for breach of trust. So sometimes people just go along and get along with very corrupt shit because they are scared to rock the boat, and they are scared that if they don't go along with certain things, then companies are like, well, we gave this person an order, they didn't go along with it, we're suing you for breach of trust now because your inaction caused the company to suffer. So the breach of trust laws are very vague. And so I agree with them changing the law. However, and it doesn't affect Min Hee-jin in the Adore situation, thank God, because the law is not retroactive. So the law doesn't apply to any cases that are already in court. But for the future, this could affect the K-pop industry because K-pop companies have used breach of trust against artists previously when they've tried to get out of their contracts. So in the future, if they do change the law or abolish it altogether, then this could change in the future. It could make it easier for K-idols to get out of their contract. So, Korea was a host country that year and they had to move everyone. So is that what happened? Yes, so the Boy Scout thing. Yes, they wanted to take them out of the military to perform, and HYBE said no. I think I've heard something about that, Alice. Wow. Korea was host country that year and they had to move so they wanted them to perform. Oh my God. I'm telling you. And like when they're in the military, they're not even supposed to be doing stuff like that. So that is unprecedented. I gotta look that up. I'm gonna look that up when I get off this live stream. That's crazy. But yeah, I think that, you know, the South Korean government are doing things and they're trying to, do things. But I just was upset because, and then if I didn't tell y'all, Bong PD had like a company holiday where he was taking pictures with company people. And then they were able to watch the fireworks a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if I brought that up, but there's been backlash because of that. Like I told y'all that people would, like, they posted the pictures online and people were making nasty comments online. So after he took his employees out, there's been a backlash about that. People have come out and said that Bong PD, this is just all for PR. Like yeah. So there's been backlash for Bong PD having an employee day. There's been backlash over that. So this week, people were really um, going on the company's internet and saying awful things about Bong PD because they had like a family company day, and he was going around taking pictures and people said it was fake. And there's no win for losing for Bong PD, y'all. There's nothing I can really say about that. So I don't know what our dear chairman is gonna do, but there was backlash. So that's what's happening at HYBE. It's never a boring day at HYBE. Never ever a boring day. So in K-pop, um, the K-pop Demon Hunter ladies performed on what was it, Jimmy Kimmel? I think they performed. Um, they performed a K-pop Demon Hunter lady. They are planning to make a live action movie, is what I hear. I don't think the ladies who sing the songs is going to be in the live action movie because the girls that are actually in the K-pop Demon Hunter ladies, Huntrix, they are actually quite younger, and these chicks are these ladies are a little bit older than the age of the K-pop Demon Hunter. Um, Last week I told y'all, I asked y'all, did y'all know that three of the EXO members are in a lawsuit with SM Entertainment? Again, I didn't know that. I saw Kai's concert. You can watch my whole Kai concert vlog. I'll play the whole concert almost. That they are in a lawsuit with EXO. I've looked up some more things about SM. SM does not put a lot of money into their artists. I've learned in the past couple of weeks that SM have gotten into numerous contract issues over the years about money. Mostly it's about money. So it's not really about how they've been treated, but mostly about investment and money. So let me tell y'all a few things about SM that I know of. Allegedly. Allegedly. SM likes to do a lot of festivals. From what I can tell, SM likes to send their artists to do festivals and stuff like that because there's not a lot of overhead. When you're not, and I mean festivals that they're not planning. So when you go on tour, there's a lot of costs. They got to pay for the venue. They got to pay for, all of these back ends. They got to pay for the hotels. They all stuff. When K artists go do festivals, whether they're here in America, whether there's just festivals, there's one in LA. When they do these festivals that are all over like Japan and Asia and in America, it's easier for them to just pay for hotel and send staff and have somebody do a festival because SM is not footing the huge bill of a tour. So I heard the SM artists, they always sending them out to do some kind of multi-artist show or something like that because they're not paying for a tour. So I heard that SM has really scaled back over the years in investing money in their artists. So that means wardrobe, that means hair, that means production, that means marketing. There are a lot of SM artists that I feel that should be bigger than what they are, but SM has not put a lot of money into expanding internationally or anything like that. So that could be the reason why HYBE sold their stock. Yes, that could be a reason why. I don't think HYBE really saw it too that they were going to make a lot of money off of the stock if they held on to it. But SM is a hot mess. They're mixed in with that Cacao guy, the guy with the Cacao thing. Cacao tried to buy SM, and it's I just hear that financially they're just kind of struggling right now, that they are losing money more than what they're making. So that's unexplained why the Kai concert, it just didn't look like they put no damn money in that Kai concert. Again, you can watch my video on my channel. and it's just sad that you would think that you could tell they put no money in this concert at all, not like barely the bare minimum. And so, but he still did a phenomenal. Kai still did a phenomenal job. So I'm just letting y'all say that. Who else got stuff? X Love, one of my favorite groups is X Love, and they're coming out with a mini album on November the 7th. So y'all, please, you have not checked X Love, then went up the charts, baby. X Love came out with 3 songs that were all over the Korean charts. It was all over I Hear social media. They came out with some really good, catchy songs that there's a lot of people that are more X Love fans than I knew, because they have grown exponentially. X Love is a group that somebody came in my live stream one day, months and like almost a year ago, and someone was like, "Hey, you heard a group called X Love?" And I said, "Who?" And they were like, "Check them out." And I forgot who it was, but whoever that person is, I ain't seen them on my live stream since. But that person told me who X Love, and I checked them out, and I was like, "This is the kind of music I like." And they have come out with every song they've came out with became more popular than the rest. So they have had nothing but growth. But they are part of a small company. But they have charted, like really they've done all kinds of like Mnets and live events. And so if you have not checked out X Love, check them out. Jennifer knew who they were. She was like, "Oh my God, have you heard of X Love?" I was like, "Girl, I've been new. Girl, I've been on X Love, girl." They have 500,000 subscribers. I swear to God, I subscribed to their channel when I first subscribed to their channel. They had like 10,000 subscribers. So yeah, so I totally admire. I love them. They're doing something new, and their music is really really good. So there you go. They are called X Love. XLOV. X Love. XLOV. And their music is good. And their music, like I said, I was amazed that it has burned up. And like I said, they haven't been around for very long. I don't think it's even been a year. Let me look. I think when they first came out, like maybe 6 months ago or 7 months ago. Let's go back. Let me go back. 9 months ago. I watched their first video 9 months ago. It called I'ma Be. And I watched it and I was like, okay. I said, all right then. I said, this is good. And I've been like them ever since. So they come out with their new album and we all anticipating it. And then you can't A for who is one ho? Who's that? Is that Stray Kids? Anyway, and then so Card, I talk about Card here and there. Card is one of the first concerts I've been to, and Card is a co-ed group from South Korea, and BM, who's a member of Card, he is I don't think they have a leader, but BM is part. Card is a 4-member group, 2 guys and 2 girls. They're like the first co-ed group in South Korea in a long time. They've been around for 7 years, and they have a lot of international fans. And they're coming to Dallas, but the venue that they're coming to, we don't like the venue. But I went to see them in concert, and I fell in love with Card's music. And Card has more of a grown folks kind of feel it. Their concerts you got to be 21 and up to go to, especially BM. So BM came out with a solo album 2 years. He did this song with Jay Park. Um, and BM produces Card's music. He writes Card's music. He's very talented. He's from LA. He's Korean American. And BM is funny, hilarious. And Card is for grown folks. Card is not for little kids. It's for grown folks. And their music videos and their things is for grown folks. And so BM is coming out with another album. I think the album drops, I believe that's in November too. And I'm excited because BM's first album was so good. So if you have not heard BM from Card, if you like R&B, if you like rap, you like that kind of old school R&B from the 2000s, and he, like I said, he talking about all kinds of love and romance, and yeah, it's just BM album was very underrated, but his song did chart. The song that he did with Jay Park, it did chart. It was charted up pretty high in the South Korean charts. But definitely check out Card, and BM has his next solo album coming out. I'm trying to think anything else in K-pop. Yes. Oh, by TOP. How can I forget TOP? announced that he's coming out with a solo album. His first solo album in like 11 years, 12 years. So we're all excited about that. You know, Big Bang is going to Coachella next year. I heard that T.O.P. is not going to be at Coachella with them, but he said that he's not. So I'm just going to learn to respect it and move on. But yes, T.O.P. is supposed to be releasing an album this year. Yeah, he caught by surprise. The co-ed part, yeah, Card is good. I saw Card in concert and they were good. And Card is some good music. You look at Card, it's Card with a K, Kard. And Card is ain't nobody like Card. Card is the best. Is I like that music a lot. So it's my kind of music. But yes, T.O.P. is supposed to be coming out with his album. And so y'all yeah, Card came out with a song called Touch about 3 months ago and it charted pretty high. But like I said, I've been listening to them for 2 years um now. But I fell in love with them. But yes, they're co-ed. Co-ed. Two girls and two guys. And I can't believe they've been together for quite a long time. Like they've been together for 7 years. And then they had to take a hiatus for a little bit because the one of the members, he the other male member, he's actually Korean, so he had to go into the military. But their music is very like Latin hip hop based, so that's what it sounds like. But I think their company needs to put invest more money into them. But they're with a small company, so you know. But Card is still good. They still and like I said, BM is very talented. If you heard of Young Posse, BM produced songs for Young Posse as well. So and BM is like a dancer, a writer, hip hop artist, and all that. So BM, Big Matthew, um, he's gorgeous. He's a good. You think T.O.P. wants to do his thing, especially after his what? I cannot wait to T.O.P. to hear whatever T.O.P. comes out with. I'm gonna support. After all the shit he went through, and after all the talk during Squid Game and how awful people were to him, but he still came out smiling, still on top. Do your thing. I was waiting for him to take advantage of this whole Squid Game thing. So T.O.P. good. In Korea, so they I talked about the APEC thing. About the APEC thing, it's coming. It's going to be the APEC thing. It's going to be at the end of this month, where all the people from all the world leaders and stuff are going to be coming. Um, the other thing I want to talk about is again, I put a lot of posts about Korea. And like I was talking about their economic stagnation. A lot of the young people, I've said it before and said it again, cannot find jobs in South Korea. So a lot of the older people are staying in jobs longer, not retiring because inflation is high. The economy is stagnant. Like the economy is not growing. And so the new president, I can understand what he's trying to do with K-pop is he's trying to stimulate, he's trying to provide more revenue options. Also, the tech sector. The new president is focused on the technology sector. So they're trying to be like the new, like Silicon Valley kind of thing. They're trying to have that for Korea. So they're trying to develop their own chat GPT, their own AI technology, their own Sora 2. They're trying to do everything that they can to have their own established, well-established tech sector in South Korea, because that will bring more money and more revenue. Right now, South Korea is offering visas to to students who are in the tech sector from different countries. So they're offering they starting now, but rolling into next year, they're going to start offering incentives to bring tech workers and students to South Korea because South Korea does is a small country. And so they need more people who are experts in the tech sector. They need more workers, just like they have in Silicon Valley. In Silicon Valley, they have a lot of these workers that are come from India and China and that go and work in the tech sector in California, Silicon Valley in California. So South Korea is trying to do the same thing. They're trying to attract more foreign students who are majoring in certain types of majors. So if you're majoring in a certain type of major, you may be able to get grants and visas to go to South Korea and study there. South Korea has some of the best universities in the world and a lot of English friendly universities. And so again, South Korea is trying to do it. They're trying to get people there to help build up their tech sector. So also in South Korea, I talk about the loneliness thing. I talk about that in South Korea, the restaurant business, they're starting to build more restaurants where they have dining options for people who are by themselves. A lot of the Korean restaurants, if it's not like a cafe or something, like I said, it's a buffet or a barbecue place, it's a communal kind of thing. The portions that they have is supposed to be for two or more people. The tables that they have is supposed to be for two or more people. There's a lot of like family and friends get together and you go out to eat. They have these places here where I am at in Texas. Me and my kids, we go to these Korean barbecue places where you cook your food. Usually me and Jennifer go because she know how to cook this food, and I always end up overcooking the meat. But these are places are meant to be two or more people eating together. So what South Korea is trying to do is they're having places where it's just like one table, and you do have like your hot pot or your grill right here, and it's just one person. And then because a lot of people don't who are single who don't have anybody to eat with don't feel comfortable going out and dining alone because uh, in America, you kind of see that. I see that in America. You may go to a restaurant, you see a lady or a man sitting at a table eating by themselves, but it doesn't, happen a lot. But you see it, you see it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've gone out and eaten, by, had dinner by myself or lunch by myself. But in South Korea, most of the time when people go out to eat, it is family and friends. But now it's to the point where there's so many people living alone. I told the statistics now is 4 out of 10 people in Korea live alone. And even if you dig deeper into that statistic of the people who don't live alone, they are not living with a spouse or a partner. The people who don't live alone, a lot of times are living with their parents. So really, marriage rates are down. I tell y'all, birth rates are down. There are a lot of single people in South Korea. There are a lot of lonely people in South Korea. I mean, this is a worldwide epidemic. Like the whole lonely thing between, men, women, whoever is a big epidemic. In most places, you have an aging population and birth rates are down and the aging population are living longer. So you don't have enough workers and enough people bringing in income to take care of the old people. So this is a population problem worldwide. It's not, and it's here in America as well. Within the next 10 to 20 years, there will be more people over the age of 65 than people below the age of 55. As your population ages and you don't have enough people to take care of these elderly people, then you have economic instability and you have problems. And what's going on in South Korea and Japan is really horrible. Like most of their population is old in Japan. Is that they understand that like I said, I've seen a lot of videos and I've seen the people predict that if things don't change in South Korea by 2070, they may not be a South Korea. Like their population is rapidly declining to level of things that people have never seen before. It's talked about a lot in Korea. Like it's amazing. Like I watched the whole like 3 hour video about like the economic numbers and the disparities in Japan and Korea, and that they're pretty much fighting for their civilization because you can't have a stagnant economy and then people are not having babies and people are not getting married and they're not interested. It's too expensive to have babies and get married. And this is going around worldwide and the population's getting older and the older people are living longer and they don't have anyone to take care of them. So I mean, it's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy of doom. I hate to say it, but it is. And so like I said, I've read some optimistic things and I've read some really bleak things about South Korea. There are people who predicted by 2070 there won't be a South Korea. That the population will have diminished so low that it will go in towards economic collapse because you can't sustain when you don't have workers. Korean barbecue and hot pot. I love hot pot and Korean barbecue. Yeah, and a lot of Asian countries is going on and all over. It's all over. It's all over. This is all over. You can't imagine. I couldn't imagine either. But it. And like I said, this is all over. This is all over the world. This is happening. The population is getting older. They're living longer, and people aren't having babies. So and people don't have babies. And then a lot of the young people are checking out of the economy. There's a lot of gig economy, which when I say gig economy, people doing DoorDash, people delivering, people. doing side hustles and side jobs. Like people, there's a lot of young people out there that have checked out the process, even inside South Korea and Japan. In China, they have this in China too. There's a term for it. I forgot the name of it. But they even have a term for it in China, where the young people are pretty much like checked out of the system. They don't want to work. They want to be YouTubers. They want to be influencers. They are working, they're doing delivery driver. They're not working like real jobs. They're working gig economy jobs. So with a gig economy, your income is up and down. And so there's not a stable income where you can create a home and have a family. They don't have enough money for that. So this is happening worldwide, y'all. This is happening worldwide. But in South Korea, this has caused a level of depression that people can't find jobs. The young people is very high competitive environment. A lot of South Koreans they were talking about are working abroad. A lot of them have left and are going to other countries. So that's another issue as well. So they're not having babies. They're not getting married. A lot of people are starting to realize that there's better opportunities if they can learn English, especially, and go work abroad. So the population is dwindling. And so Korea is doing everything in their possible that they can to boost their numbers because it's going to get to the point where it's economically not sustainable the way things are. In Japan, it's even worse. Japan is even worse. Japan is asking for foreigners to come there because they need somebody to have babies. Japan is like, come here. We need, because again, these countries where people are not having children and they're not and they don't have an immigration system and they don't have enough babies that it's not sustainable. It's not socially sustainable. It's not economically sustainable. It's just not. It's like you're delaying the inevitable. So at least South Korea is doing something about it. They've provided government incentives for people to have children. They've provided tax incentives for people who are getting married. So South Korea is doing something about it. So is Japan. Let me tell y'all the coolest thing about Japan. Well, there's a lot of cool things about Japan. But let me tell you, in Japan, they have a loneliness epidemic like we do here. So in order to stave off this loneliness epidemic, and they have a term for it too in Japan. You can look this up. I watched this whole documentary about it. They have these, like each district, which would for us be like a county. They have these workers, these workers, they work for the county. They work in with the cities. They go where young people are at, or young people, dorms, small apartments, and they pass out flyers. They hang up flyers and they pass out flyers. In Japan, they have these city or county run loneliness groups. So they have these workers, they go and they pass out flyers where young people are at arcades. A lot of the young people are at adult shops. A lot of the young men are alone. So they go to these adult shops, y'all know what I'm talking about, and they pass out flyers. They go to these gambling places, these video game places, these apartment buildings. They go to college campuses and they pass out flyers. And these flyers have like a day and time, like, hey, are you lonely? And day and time come meeting. And they have these meetings in Korea where young people get together. They have them in these places and they play games and they interact, and they have one or two people running it, and they have it at like some, hall or some, center, and it's not a very big place. And they invite, and they on the flyer they tell you what day and time to come, and people just show up. And so they like, are you lonely? Do you need friends? You need people to talk to? And so this is what the Japanese government is doing. They understand that their young people, especially the young men, are starting to feel lost. So they have these state-sponsored programs all over. And the young people, they come and they show up, and you don't have to give your name. You don't even have to say anything. They have snacks. They have food. They got food and snacks at a table. They have games that you can play. They have computers set up where if you want to sit and play a computer, and then let the people slowly but surely, and some people come every week, and you start seeing the same people every week, and you're like, hey, you're like, oh, I saw them last week. Okay. And some people are a little too shy to talk to anybody. And they said, that's okay. You can just come. People come and they bring their books. Some people come and they sit on their phones. They just come every week and they sit on their phones. And maybe they're just real shy. And they don't really, and then eventually what happens? People start talking to each other. They see each other every week and they like, hey, and they say hi. They, okay, hi. But then after a couple of weeks, you're like, oh, hi. And then they start talking to each other. And then eventually they start really socializing with each other and start making friends. And then some of them, it's right away. Some of them are just relieved just to be around other people. Some people just want to sit there and they have TV screens and they have movies on there. And some people just want to be around other people. They don't want to say anything. They just, one lady was saying that she hadn't left her house in 2 years. 2 years this lady ain't left her house. It was her and her mama living together. She said, I ain't left my house in 2 years, but I went out to the market and she's like, she got a grocery delivery. She went to go check her mailbox. I mean, she said she left the house, but ain't been out like with socializing. So this lady said, all she do is go to the grocery store, check her mailbox, and come home and hang out with her mom inside her house. But one day she saw the flyer and she thought, you know, maybe I need to go to this meeting. And so she went there and sat there and didn't say anything. And then after like a month or two, she started to talk to people. And she realized that like she started to go outside and walk outside a little bit. She started to actually, make eye contact with people. But she said she had been so used to being by herself and she didn't know how to make friends, where to make friends at. That she talked to a lot of people online, but she had never really talked to people having a real, true human connection. And so she thanked God for this group. And they talked to another man, and he was like a man in his 40s, and he didn't have no friends, and he had a wife and kids, and he would go to these meetings because it provided him for somebody. He's like, I love my wife and I love my kids, but sometimes I want to be around other adults and I want to talk to people. But I don't have anybody at work. I'm so busy. I don't really have time to talk to nobody. He would show up at these meetings. And so every week they would have these meetings, and they have these meetings all over Korea trying to get young people and everybody out of their damn houses. And that is a great idea. Oh, I'm talking about the Ministry of Loneliness. I think it's called the Ministry of Loneliness. Yes. Yes. And yes, there are generations that have never learned that. And I thought that was so sweet that, like, this is in Japan has done other things to try to get people. They provide monetary incentives for people to leave the house and get out and attend these meetings. And again, it's just a way for people to just be around other people who are shy, people who are introverted, people that, like I said, people have been in their house for weeks and days, and they don't. And I thought that was good because they're trying to provide socialization for people that is hard for them to socialize. Because Japan has a real bad problem with people who don't want to leave the house like that. That is like the growing epidemic now. Is that there's so many young people that don't leave the house. They just sit at home all day. There's some of them that work from home. There's some of them that just go to work, come home, and that's all they do. They don't ever leave the house. They just don't do nothing. And this is happening in South Korea as well. So like I said, back to RM, when RM was talking about loneliness and things, I can just imagine because again, I've seen enough documentaries. I've talked to South Koreans and they are truly lonely. Like I talked to some South Koreans and they just like, I don't have anybody. And they're online. Like I can show y'all posts from South Koreans, because I go to the Korean side of the internet Naver and like I belong to different language groups and websites. And you read some of these profiles and these young men are lonely. I don't have any friends. I'm in university. I don't have anyone to talk to. And I just be feeling so bad. Sometimes I'll reach out to them and be like, hey, how are you? I'm in America. Hi, 안녕하세요. Hey. And they just so happy that somebody is talking to them online and they just desperately want some real connection and they just don't know what to do. So I think that governments worldwide, even here in America, there's a loneliness epidemic. And I think that like instead of just letting people figure it out, I think that, state or city local governments need to just have these groups and they don't cost a lot in Japan. It's not like it all they doing is paying for somebody to come in once a week and babysit a bunch of adults. And I think the meetings are like maybe 3 hours they can stay. And some people don't stay for very long. And then all the person does is they go and they provide snacks and food and they just sit back and they help people who ask them questions. Maybe somebody want to ask them questions, and then sometimes depending on where they're at, they have meetings at different locations, so different people can have an ability to meet up. And to me, that's a wonderful idea, because I'm like, well, why can't we do this? It doesn't cost a lot of money. Somebody can do this as a part-time job. Some pensioner, maybe some older person who want to get out there and go buy the food and go pass out the flyers and hand it. Like, how much money would this cost though? It, to me, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of cost to this. And it seems like the benefits outweigh any kind of cost. And so people can really just sit around and just be around people and start interacting with people that don't have a chance. And so that's what the Japan and South Korea in particular are trying to do. They're trying to engage their young people to be a part of society like it was before. And again, because loneliness in South Korea, another thing I want to bring up, that loneliness in South Korea is a social stigma amongst itself. Like, it is a stigma that you don't have friends and you don't have a partner and you don't have no one to go out with. That causes people to be even want to stay inside even more. Well, I don't have anybody to go out with and I don't have anybody to share it. So I don't want to go out to a restaurant or a movie and I'm by myself. And then people are looking at you like, oh, why is she there? Why is she here by herself? So a lot of people feel self-conscious about going out by themselves. So they just stay inside. And then they get lost in the video games and social media a lot. So again, this is happening worldwide, but I don't see a lot of governments putting in money, time, and effort to try to help their citizens. If you're worried about birth rates and death rates and all that type of shit, get people together. Start hooking people up together. Like you can't just sit there and leave it to people to kind of figure it out, because some people, they don't know what to do. They're like, well, how do I meet people? Where do I go? And it's the idea that everybody complains about the male loneliness epidemic in America, but then people ain't doing nothing about it. I was like, okay, so what are y'all gonna do about it? Y'all had these lonely 19, 20 year olds and they got to figure it out themselves. Like, I'm like, but that's the dichotomy of being in America. People complain about a lot of things, but nobody wants to do anything. I'm like, okay, well, instead of complaining about it, how about we do something about it? Well, there's a male loneliness epidemic. Okay, so what are we doing about it? Well, I don't know. There's books and self-help. Why is that a thing? Why? Okay, the point of having community and living in a community is building community, in my opinion. And to me, part of building a community is the local community that you live in. It should be a no-brainer that you have groups, and in these groups, and again, I know in my local library they do have groups and stuff for people to join, but it's something that's not advertised. It's something that people don't really know about. It's something that's geared for children. I'm talking about something more geared for adults. Something that's advertised. Like, hey, come to the library. We have this group every week. Are you lonely? Are you bored? Come here. Like, that needs to be on a billboard. That needs to be ran on TV. It needs to be ran on social media, and get these people out of the house and get these people getting to know their neighbors and that's one of the problems we have in this country. There's why there's such a division in our country, because people don't even know their fucking neighbors. People don't even know the people, because there's no sense of fostering of community in our society. Is, I'm going to sit at home. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to come home. Me, 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 me. It's all about my family and what I do in the individual. There's no sense of fostering a community. And when you don't have a community and everybody's just out there for themselves, you have the shit that we're going through here in America. When people don't know their neighbors and people are just distrustful of anybody that doesn't look like them or not in their little social circle, you have a divided country. At least I can say with South Korea, they have more of a collectivist society. So they really do believe in, like, let's get together with family. Let's, if they have it, they believe in more of, you got to know your neighbors. Your neighbors will wave to you and say hi. These happens in other civilizations and other countries that I've been to. But in America, it's not like that. People are very isolated. People are very like, you walk out of the house, people don't say hi to you. I don't know my neighbors. I don't, fuck off me. Fuck me. I don't know my neighbors. But again, when there's no sense of community, you have a lot of division. And so to me, if I ran a city or a country, I would try to foster that, you know, everybody should be able to break bread with people. And that's why people run to these like real fucked up religions and these cults and stuff, because they looking for a sense of belonging. And people get into these destructive behaviors and they fall into with these groups of people that talk crazy because they don't have any sense of I need somewhere to belong and I don't have any friends. And social media has done this. The internet has isolated people. And so, again, I commend Japan and South Korea for trying to do something with their young people, besides just being like, well, that's your problem, you figure it out. You know, it should be a societal problem because it affects society. If people are lonely, they're not meeting. If they're not meeting, they're not getting married. If they're not meeting, not getting married, they're not having babies. If they're not having babies, you ain't got workers. You ain't got workers, then you have a bunch of jobs and nobody to work it. You have a bunch of old people. Ain't no money in the economy to take care of these pensions and these social securities and all this shit. So it's better for countries to invest in their young people and invest in their societies and invest in, okay, socialization is a part of as important as getting up and working. Your whole life can't just be work, 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 a cog in a machine. Just work, just work, just work, just work. And you ain't got no friends, you ain't got no family, you don't have any emotional outlet, you ain't got nobody to talk to, you have nothing. That is not a healthy way for a human being to live. We are social creatures by nature. By nature, we are social beings. We are not meant to leave our whole entire lives alone. That's just not the way to go. And so with South Korea and around the world, I don't know what kind of world I'm leaving to my kids. I don't know if anybody's going to figure it out in time enough, but it just seems like people don't want to do anything to change anything. It's just like, we'll just let you figure it out. And I'm like, well, sometimes people need help to try to figure it out. And I feel so bad for our young people because the way we grew up, for those of us who are old, why did I picture my K-pop idols have parties together and just chill? They do. They do. They do. They do have parties and just chill, you know. I choose not to know my neighbors either. I don't want to deal with my neighbors. I don't like them either. I don't trust my neighbors. So I'm just being honest, but that's just me. But I just feel like that until we figure out this whole civilization thing, it's just gonna keep getting worse. I think that people start that we need to figure it out quickly. Like we don't have time to be like, oh, we got another century to figure. No, I don't think we have another century. If people don't start figuring this shit out, you know, people always think it's the environment that's going to kill us. I said, no, the environment's not going to kill us. I said, we're going to kill us. Like we're just going to die off as a species. Again, if people are not having babies, you die. I mean, that's just it. Population shrinks, then what? Like everybody like, well, you know, and like I said, this is happening all over the world, but you know, and then it's like people don't understand what's going on and people blaming other people. And I'm like, that's not it. It's just y'all not having babies. And y'all not having babies because who wants to have babies and you can't afford to even bring them up? Like nobody wants to have a baby in South Korea because it's expensive. It's expensive to have a child. It's expensive. It's expensive. Apartments are expensive in Seoul. It's expensive to have a baby. It's hard to find a good job. A lot of these young people are going to be trying to be entertainers, singers, K-pop singers. That's why, because the economic situation in South Korea is in a slump, just like here in America. Inflation is over the top. So people are like, why am I bringing a child into this world? I can barely take care of me, much less a child and a wife. Like, why would I bring that into the world? It's expensive everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, I said, yeah, the environment will be fine. The planet will be fine. Yeah. It's the humans that will destroy themselves, you know. I don't think we'll be here in another century either. And it's sad. But I don't see any way out of it until people understand that, like, you know, you can't run from death. Like death comes for us all. It don't matter if you're rich, poor, everything in between. Death comes for us all. And so there's no point of hoarding a bunch of money and being greedy and talking about your legacy and you ain't got nothing and nobody to leave it to. There's no country, there's no kids for you to leave it to, or your kids aren't gonna you know, I'm like, what's the point of talking about a legacy and accumulating wealth, and then the world that your kids and grandkids are gonna inherit is gonna be a wreck? Like they're going to be living in an underground bunker somewhere. Like why would that be an option? Okay, well we're going to live in underground bunkers and what? Like okay, the environment's going to be destroyed, civilization's going to collapse, economic system is going to be bad, and you're going to be living in an underground bunker with like 100 other people. Huh? Like that? Yeah, that sounds like a party. I mean, people need people, regardless of whether people want to realize that or not. And I don't think people have woken up to understand that you do know we need other people. We do. You do know that we are human beings as a species of people. That it's not this country and that whatever happens to one country, it spreads like cancer to the rest. It's not like we all live on this island somewhere where whatever happens in South Korea, well, that doesn't affect America. Oh yeah, it spreads like cancer. This whole loneliness thing and this lopsided population is going on in like 30 different countries where the population is getting older and they're not replenishing their populations because birth rates have dropped worldwide for a myriad of reasons. But one of the biggest reasons is inflation. It's more expensive. And one of the reasons why that is because there's more concentration of wealth now than there's ever been in the history of human beings. There are more people who have a lot more money than the rest of everybody else. In my opinion, it's never supposed to be that way. Like you're not supposed to have like 10 people on the planet owning like 80% of the riches. And then they're going to do whatever they can to try to keep it and hoard it and keep it in their family. That's not how it's supposed to go. Again, ain't no sense of ruling over your little fiefdom if you ain't got no serfs to serve you. You're not gonna have anybody there. You're just gonna be there with your money, and then what? There ain't gonna be no people left. You're not gonna accumulate any. You gotta accumulate wealth. People got to be around to buy stuff. So I don't understand what the end game here is. Again, it's the dying out of the human race, and if we don't um figure it out before it's too late, then you know, and you just you're never gonna figure it out. And again, it starts by doing simple things. These things are not hard. These things are not impossible, but just people just have to want to do it. You have to be like, okay, this is for the good of society. How can we get people married? How can we get people, well, let's try offer incentives. Let's try offer discounts on housing if you're married, discounts on housing if you have kids, discounts on daycare, free daycare. Like we are trying to encourage you to have babies and get married. So do things and put in laws and incentives so people will get married and have children. And in adoption, so people will adopt children. That's another thing. Provide incentives, and so people can do things to kickstart your society. But they're not gonna do it if you expecting people to just do it on their own, And the socialization is the first step. And I told y'all the internet is the bane of our existence. Social media is the downfall. I told people a long time ago, this gonna kill our civilization. And people are like, yeah, it's the future. I'm like, yeah, but it's gonna kill everybody. I said this is gonna cause people to just hunker down and just be on the internet 24 hours a day, and people are going to lose all their communication skills, socializations, and that's what's happening with the young people. They don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to interact with people because they are like, well, I can interact online, especially as the older they get. Once they're out of college and out of high school, then the young people don't know what to do. So we need to bring back old school way of talking and meeting and dating. I think we need to bring that back. I would love to see that make a revival. Just old school, like no more online dating. I've tried that. I've done that. Let's just go back to the where you meet up with people and you just talk to people. And that's it. No pressure, just meeting people. And like I said, I think Japan and South Korea got the right idea. But we will see. I hate to see that by the time like 30 years from now to see Korea be half the size, half the population that it is now because you know nothing has helped. I would hate to see that Korea is slowly but surely in 30 years will regress into half of what it is. And I really hate to see that. I just, every Korea is a great civilization with good people. and they deserve to thrive. And but if they, but I don't, it's just it's gonna be slow them trying to, not unless they want to unify with North Korea. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, we're not doing. We ain't that desperate yet. Damn it. Korea's like, look, hold up. We ain't that desperate. Okay, we're not gonna unify. I said, not unless they unify with North Korea. They like, no, we're not. We're not coming back. They not getting a relationship back. Speaking of North Korea had their big they had their big what do you call it? Like their big huge event what's it called? Hwasan ICBM. They have it on they have the whole thing. It's like this military parade. They invite people from Russia. It's like this whole thing. It's like inside the arena and they have all these bands. They once a year they have like this huge celebration. You have not watched it, please go watch it. Um and so they have like this whole unveiling and like it is crazy. And then if you go and read the comments, it's crazy. Um, and then like the comments are crazy. And then the South Koreans and the North Koreans they be in the comments fighting. And they like it is wild. Y'all, it is wild. These South Koreans is like, oh my god, like like people, the Russians come in there, like it's wild on this video on YouTube. But yeah, if you go and watch the video about North Korea recently, about they had their big game Korean thing, the Koreans and the pro North Koreans and the South Koreans will be in the comment section going in, girl. It is. I'm like I'll go in here and read it, and it's entertaining. It is. Like they be talking about North Korea is more independent than South Korea. Uh shit, South Koreans be in the girl. South Koreans they be telling my shit. I ain't living there. Da, 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 da. I was like, wow. Wow, the South Koreans be going in. Um it's really funny to read these comments. Like I just be cracking up because I'm like, I know that's a South Korean. That's a South Korean. And so yeah, it's very interesting reading these comments. These North Koreans, child, these pro North Korean bots or Russians or whatever. It's crazy. So you go read, yeah. You ordered a gym and pillowcase. This is my BTS. Wait. There's only one person we're worried about. That's it. That's all you need right there. You don't need nothing else. Ain't nobody care about Jimin. Where you at, Jimin? Wait. Ain't nobody worried about Jimin. Ain't nobody worried about Jimin. Wait a minute. Here we go. Here's the other side of my favorite pillow. But this is all you need to worry about right here. It's all you need to worry about, sugar. You don't worry about nobody else. Moonlight said she was sad because of the way they be doing Jimin. Because Jimin be up there looking sad. I said, poor Jimin. Jimin he be looking, his eyes look so sad. He was looking so sad in these pictures. He did the Dior thing. Me and my sister-in-law, we watching the Dior thing. We like, damn, Jimin up here looking sad. She says, OT7 to my girl by Jimin was looking so sad. Talking about it looks cold. He looks cold. I'm like, yeah, watching these videos about North Korea. Girl, it looks cold there. Them people, they look a little skinny, a little emaciated, I got to get an RM Tiny Tan pillow. Oh my God. Don't even start me on the time. I have another Tiny Tan video coming out, y'all, because I went to Tiny Tan Adventures the other day. So I'm still upset. I still ain't got RM. I might go to McDonald's tomorrow. We'll see, y'all. But anyway, it's time for me to get up off here. Bye, Moonlight. Bye, Deidre. Thank you, AK, for monitoring. I've been on here for 4 hours. I gotta go see what these kids is doing. My kids are gonna be out of school for like a whole week. They ain't not going back until next Wednesday, some kind of break. But anyway, I thank everybody's being here. Remember, look at my shop. I got 20% off. This is my rap line K-pop t-shirt for those of y'all. I got a bunch of shirts. I got a bunch of more designs. I'm gonna try to upload tomorrow. But it's my rap line. Ooh. You hate watching those videos and docs? Oh my, North Korea one, child. Do you know Korean? I watch it because I'm curious. But yeah, y'all check out my shop and check my store. I'm fixing to upload some more designs. I'll probably upload it tomorrow. But anyway, you guys have a good night. I don't know what time it is here. What time is it here? It is 11:50. So I'm not too bad. But I knew we was gonna be talking about a lot on this live stream, especially when it comes about the RM situation and stuff like that. But next week we're gonna be back here Saturday if I can help it. Yes, and next week we're going to talk about K-pop gossip. If there's not a lot of news, then I'm gonna make sure I make room for K-pop gossip. But I got other videos coming out this week, and again I'm working on a 20-minute like BTS K-pop industry financial kind of thing right now. That's what I'm working on. I got to edit that. But that video probably won't come out not this coming week, but the week after. But I got a lot more. Y'all know I come out with videos and do stuff all the time. I try to thirst trap y'all. I be trying to thirst trap y'all so hard. Did McDonald's have you in a chokehold? Anyway, Katina, you good night, girl. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna get off of McDonald's. But anyway, bye y'all. Have a good night, especially in the U.S.